All right, we are live. I am kicking it. Okay, here to play everybody's preferred game on this here Twitch.tv channel. That is to say, Mario Kart Wii. And true to the title, I did make it political, which is a joke on a couple of fronts, but it is also true. On the first front, I made it political because I exist. I am pansexual, and according to such genius, big brain personalities as the Quartering, or really anybody on the right wing, you would get this response out of them. Simply having a queer person in media anywhere is political, which, I mean, descriptively could be true, because queer rights are a topic of discussion. However, the framing is highly dishonest, so I'm more inclined to say not true, because that implies that having straight people in media is not political, which it is. All media is relevant politically on some level. Even the blockbuster media that seemingly has nothing to do with politics, they can be taken as great examples of why unionization in certain areas is necessary. But yes, here today I am making Mario Kart Wii political by being gay on stream. But then the second joke is like, I am here to actually, I'm gonna talk a little bit about politics this stream. Oh, and another thing is that descriptively, the phrase "they made it political" by adding a queer person, by adding a black person, whatever, should not be true. It is dumb that you would look at that and think, oh no, they want me to accept progressive politics. Because when people say progressive politics, they mean, yeah, these people exist, so you should be comfortable seeing them in media. And they say that like it's a bad thing. Conservatives, that is. They will decry the existence of queer people in popular media as if it is some slight against American culture, as if America hasn't been a cultural melting pot for generations and generations. We got some people, seems like. Is it gonna connect me? It is. Alright, so we got a 5-player room here. Oh hey, it's So again. Now, I don't know if this is actually who I think it is. I don't know if that's actually Russo. But if it was, that would be funny, because literally the first live stream that I did, I ran over him with a Mega Mushroom on purpose, because it was funny. Yeah. However, despite me sort of rattling off at the beginning about social issues and the sort of the root of that joke, I'm here to talk a little bit more about economics and you know, things like food politics, information politics, things like that. Might be a little bit more boring, according to some, but it is still a highly important subject of discussion, I think, and I'll try to make it engaging if at all possible. Although I think people will find a fair bit of like interest just by the sheer absurdity of the goings on recently. But first, let's get into a race here. Now, I remember last time I had voted for, I think, SNES Koopa Beach 2 and eventually got it. Let's see. Where is that track? It's down here. Okay, so, right, we did Halogen Highway. Now I'm going to do Item Fireland. And once we get into the race, I think I'll be comfortable to bring up the first thing I wanted to talk about. Ah, there we go, item Fireland. You get to play this one once and then move on to the next track I want to pick. Because, if you're not familiar, one of the main points of the stream now, I have decided, is to play every single track in CTGP on stream. Now, I have already played all of the tracks in the pack on my own. However, I have not played them all live on stream. Now, this is mirror mode. So, not the most well acclimated to this. I didn't really mean to try to pass Mr. Stoic there. There we go. Oh, well, I guess I passed him anyway, and now I have 3 greens in first. How about that? So, let's get into the first thing, and it has to do with information politics. Now, of course, everybody's, at this point, well acquainted with the tomfoolery of Donald Trump. But, you know, lately he has decided to just be unambiguously evil. You know, he's decided that's his new strategy to appeal to Republicans, which I have to say, from a perspective of campaign appeal, is a very good strategy, because Republicans are just evil in their political beliefs. Obviously, that's a sociological shorthand for much more complicated things that are happening, but at the same time, you know, they believe things that are fundamentally in conflict with really any good system of morals. But that aside, he recently decided that a new I didn't mean to throw that backwards. New campaign thing for him would be to target the National Archives and to place it under a more partisan jurisdiction. Oops. Ah, dang it. And if you're not familiar, the National Archives would, I think, include the Library of Congress, where you can basically go and search any document that has ever been important enough that the government is like, yeah, well, you know, we'll record that this exists. This includes books, newspapers, really old newspapers, all sorts of, basically any piece of media that you could think of, is recorded somewhere in the Library of Congress, in the National Archives, if it's, like, politically significant. In fact, so much so that for one of my projects in college, I went and found an old tax sheet from the year 1812 for not just a state, but a municipality, like a county with various towns in it, various boroughs. And in fact, I used that as a source of data. You're like, okay, so this is, you know, judging on the taxes paid by these towns, we can assume that they had such and such level of wealth, you know? Because generally, higher wealth means you get more tax money. Ow. Ah, dang it. But yeah, in the same way that Republicans have been advocating for banning books for the past few months, they're now, Trump in particular has now started advocating for making pretty nationalistic changes to the National Archives. which would be really bad. You know. Ah, yet a mushroom. Interesting. Ah, I didn't get the item box. That's unfortunate. Give me this item. Thank you. Surely this couldn't possibly backfire. Well... Alright. Let me see if I can't find that story, that new story. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so... Seems like Trump had said, National Archives are bad because they wanted me to return the classified documents. But I think... Oh, yes, here it is. So, it was a little bit of a... Third place isn't bad? Yeah, it was alright. I'm focusing more on driving this time, by the way, rather than winning, because I like custom tracks, and I want to play all of them on stream. So right now I'm voting for Daisy Hillside, because I don't think I've played that one on stream yet. But either way, I did find more details about the story I was thinking of earlier. When I had heard a headline about Trump targeting the National Archives, and what that meant was he incited stochastic terror threats against them. National Archives is basically where the country of the United States stores all of the information that the government deems important to have. And Trump is like, hey, what if I, like, sicked my followers on them because I stole classified documents, and the National Archives didn't like that very much. You know, so that's pretty bad, I think. Also, welcome to the stream, Coco Bandera. Here, throw that back. Yeah, so, you know, when you see the title, the title of the stream, I made Mario Kart political, I was not joking, I just wrote it in a way that I thought sounded funny. Hello, Stoic. How did I make that? Jeez, by the skin of my teeth, dude. What? Bullshit. Okay, well, it happens. Okay. What's up, So? Yeah, that's probably the correct decision. What? Is he allowed to do that? No, he isn't. That's against the law. But Trump has a lot of money, and in in any sort of capitalist economic system, people who have money get away with crimes because they can afford good lawyers, and those lawyers can get them off scot-free. Yeah, they were out for me. Whereas poor people usually get the full force of the law applied to them because they can't afford a good lawyer. A lot of justice outcomes are gatekept behind wealth. Something that Donald Trump has a lot of. At least on paper. In fact, there was a French... It was either a French liberal back in the revolutionary days, or like a French socialist that was putting up a critique of liberals, who said, they said, it is equally against the law for the rich and the poor man to sleep homeless under the bridge. The idea being that obviously the poor man is going to be way more likely to end up in that situation because they don't usually have the money to put a roof over their heads. Not consistently, anyways. And that's why Trump does this sort of stuff, is because he knows he has the money that he can get away with it. Yeah. But even still, there's only so much you can do before everybody decides, yeah, no, you need to go. And hopefully we're getting to that point. But at that point, that's just like one story among many among us in real life. The more significant thing I wanted to get to is a matter of like food security and things like that. I'm sure if any of you have any familiarity with politics out there, you've heard these talking points. Socialism is when no iPhone, Venezuela, 69 more billion people dead from starvation. No food, no iPhone, Vuvuzela, etc., etc. But sometimes that is projection. I know, shocking, if you can believe it. But in the United States, it was a pretty significant headline during the pandemic that, a lot of people became food insecure, and a lot of people also, sorry, I have to concentrate on the race for a bit. Yeah, food. Anyways, food insecurity was a big issue during the pandemic, and people started turning to grocery stores, and as you can imagine, desperate people do desperate things, and one such thing was going dumpster diving for food, because grocery stores in America especially, but I imagine elsewhere too, throw out a lot of food that they don't sell. In fact, it is a standard practice for like grocery stores, restaurants, whatever. Thank you very much for the follow, by the way, Coco Bandera. It's standard practice if like a donut shop or somewhere like that hasn't sold their food by the end of the day, or like by the end of business or whatever, they throw out whatever they haven't sold. And sometimes that can work decently well because, food can go bad, it has a limited shelf life, whatever. But, usually there's a visual tell for that. What ended up happening was that people started seeing for the first time that grocery stores weren't just throwing out bad food. They were throwing out good food. Grocery stores, restaurants, little cafes, donut shops, all that, was going in the dumpster bin. And people were like, hold on. First of all, that's not right. Second of all, if I'm desperate and in need of food, I can go dumpster diving to find perfectly good, sometimes still packaged food that had been thrown out by a, place of business. And in response, There was no national policy to address this. There was no expansion to food stamps. Instead, stores started hiring police and security guards to harass people who tried to go dumpster diving for food. Food that the store owners had already disowned by throwing out. But they didn't want they didn't want anybody to get to that food because there's no money to be made there. And if people are getting food without money, then the business owners don't get money. I didn't know this track was... Oh, okay, whatever. At least it's one lap. And when I have an opportunity, I will pull up a study that I have on a separate window where it's a very, like, not insignificant percent of the food that we produce just goes straight in the trash, you know? I'm gonna chain this, I think. Or maybe not. He took the box. But the reason that sort of thing happens is because food is thought of as a commodity generally in the United States, but in capitalist societies more generally. A lot of things are thought of as commodities. And it leads to practices like this, where food is locked behind a paywall. If you don't have money, you can't get food. And a lot of people don't have a lot of money. So, I think a much better system would be instead to do grocery stuff, like do business with like in terms of grocery shops and whatnot, at no cost at the point of service, which might sound ridiculous. It's like, well, how are the store owners and stuff gonna support themselves? I have a few thoughts on that are a little bit more spicy, but in the more immediate term, you can do government subsidies. They can send an itemized list of expenses or whatever, like this is how much we spent on transportation, on actually getting this food, and stuff like that. This is how much we spent, this is how much we need to support ourselves, and the government can just say, okay, we'll front that money. And this is especially feasible in the United States because this is the richest country in the history of the world. And that way, people can get food for free. We already pay taxes, believe it or not, for a lot of the food production in the country because, agribusinesses, like farming businesses, already get a lot of subsidies from government. It would just take a couple extra bells and whistles to subsidize the part of, food production that we do see, the grocery stores, so that then, maybe some folks at the top pay a little bit more in tax money, and the end outcome is that everybody gets food for free. And we have solved the food insecurity issue in the United States, at least, on paper. I don't expect anything to be a perfect solution, but it's definitely something that we can do with just a few, like, little policy tricks. Although, obviously, even by saying that, I'm glossing over a lot of stuff that has to go on at the local level, because a lot of times food policy, because this is like such an expansive market, it has to have several levels. You can't do everything at the federal, national level. But that's my 2 cents on the food security or food insecurity situation in the United States. On the one hand, sometimes it is disheartening to think about like how much we like don't look out for citizens in this country. But on another hand, it's actually kind of reassuring to see that, like, hold on, we're actually not that far from just, you know, getting things generally very well sorted out so that everybody gets fed. We're already decently close to that. You know, for all the flaws in our system, it is a system. It is a, you know, system of distributing food to people, but it has a lot of problems that lead to people not getting food. And I think that, you know, especially in a country this big, this powerful, that wants to be like the shining city on a hill, we should be prioritizing that over how much money we're making. Because if we're on top of the world like this, you know, we shouldn't be thinking about that all the time. We should also, you know, be the democracy that we want to be. That'd be good. But also, I am queer and have therefore made this stream political simply by doing it and existing. So, you know, very sad, very sad. Many people have said this. I'm dead. He's gonna go get his star. Yeah. I'm way back here, huh? Last lap. I'm gonna try to chain this at the next item box. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, very nice. Good decision. 3 more mushrooms. Now I really need this box. Okay. Oh, how fun. I think I'm gonna use this here. Damn it. you got 3rd and I got 4th. I had a red shell and a blue shell. Alright, let's get to the next race. 10 players. This room's filling up right quick. You'll have to see it. Here, let's see here. NRDC, food waste. Where is the statistic I was looking at earlier? Very compartmentalized. Here we go. So broadly, food consumed versus food loss. 38% of grain is lost. 50% of seafood is lost. 52% of fruits and veggies are lost. 52%, holy crap. 22% of meat and 20% of milk is lost, meaning not consumed. Now let's see. A lot of that is in the consumer phase. Interesting. Meaning a lot of it just goes into the trash can once people have already bought it. Oops. Yeah, I knew I should have let that guy pass. Unfortunately, I no longer have chat up on the screen. That's gonna suck. Except, no, you know what? I have an idea. Where's a straightaway? Okay, I have identified a straightaway. When I'm on that straightaway, I'm just gonna hold A, and I'm gonna pull OBS back up. This is gonna be big brain hours. Oh no. Give me that. I'm a genius. It worked. I'm either very smart or very dumb for doing that. No. God damn it. That guy was even smarter because he passed me that thundercloud. No, people keep taking the boxes that I want. Alright, anyways. Give me that box. What? The shock happened again? God damn. I think that's faster than if you just tricked off one of them. Give me that. I think I know where I want to use this. I'm not sure if I'll be able to hold it until then. I'm just gonna chain it. I'm gonna use this here, so I can go around this stuff. Even though that's not a whole lot faster, it almost got me that that item box, but I bounced over it. This is a pretty close race, considering. How did they pull away like that at the end there? I don't get it. It must have been like I had a lag start or something. Must have been. 10 players. Production losses. Oh yeah, that statistic. That statistics, by the way, is for the U.S., Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Woohoo Island. Oh yeah, it's not just grocery stores that do that either. Amazon does this too. They destroy items at the end of the year. Amazon, any items that they haven't sold, they destroy, which includes a lot of electronics. I mean, really, Amazon sells everything, just about under the sun. So anything that you could buy on Amazon that they're selling in large amounts, at the end of the year, there's a bunch of those that they haven't sold that they're just gonna destroy. Because why give them to people if you can't make money off of them? I say sarcastically. This was not a good item to have. I bumped him. Okay, now we find out whether this is a front-running track or if I'm dumb. Likelihood is a combination of both. Hey, I got somebody. I'm going wide. You can, yeah, don't worry about it. Oh, wow. Triple greens in second. Interesting. Another mushroom. Very interesting. Barely avoided getting hit by that. Whoa, what? I could have sworn he wasn't on the rail anymore. Oh well. I guess this is what lag does to a man. Ah, I couldn't take the turn to... What? I'm getting bumped like a motherfucker. Ah, he got revenge. He bumped me back. Go, 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 go. Shit. I don't know what place I got, but that was a scramble. +1, you'll love to see it. 11 players. Very cool. Very cool. Ah. Ooh. Cracking my knuckles. Here I come. Rougher than knuckles. I like that parody song, parody, hour-long parody. Alright, 10 people. Woohoo Island. I made a long-ass thread. It's like... Yeah. I could just rattle off this. Oh, there goes that guy. Alright, Luigi. Last night, I was on Twitter for a bit. Ew, gross. I know. Twitter is like that. But then I saw an obvious, like, debate post. That was like, what would America look like if the left got everything it wanted? And I was like, well, actually, yeah, that actually gave me the idea. Like, hey, what if I just made, like, a long thread, not, like, directly replying to that post, but just rattling off, like, yeah, this is what America would look like if the left, you know, my idea of what left positions are, got everything it wanted. You know, it was basically just a long thread of my policy positions meant for really nobody but myself, you know? Just to sort of get it out there, like, yeah, I believe this. And also to reassure myself that you can do a lot with the policy-making tools at hand. So the first thing on the list, since this is a very recently relevant issue for me, is tuition-free college and university. You know, in any economy, especially like this one, a really specialized economy, you need to have a well-educated workforce. And that means going to college. So it's unreasonable to have that expectation, but then also expect you to pay through the nose for it, you know, tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes hundreds of thousands. So that's one part of it. And then I already talked about the free food bit earlier on stream. And then another, you could consider this a subset of that, but this really needs to be addressed. Free school lunches. My God. It is atrocious that the United States has a school lunch debt crisis, like K-12 school. There are elementary, middle, and high school students who go into debt buying lunch at school, at a public school. You know. So, yeah, that'd be good if they didn't have to do that. And then another pretty common sense one is, I think, expansive public transit networks. You know, everybody shouldn't have to have a car. Cars are expensive. Cars require a lot of fuel for only, like, one or two people, depending. public transit would be a way more fuel efficient and cheaper way of transporting people. Um, you know, because cars also cause damage to the roads they drive on. And, roads have to be repaired super often compared to things like railroads. That's a big one. And it also, in addition to sort of fuel efficiency on the and inexpensiveness on the part of like the government or whatever in maintenance and whatever, it's way less expensive for a regular person to take the bus, buy a bus ticket or something every day, like a train ticket, or just have a pass. Than it is to like drive your car and then fill up the gas every week, or depending on where you live, sometimes more frequently than that, because a lot of places are very, very car-centric in the United States. Looking squarely at Texas in this instance. Do I just win this? I wonder. I think I just win. Okay. Cool. Yeah. The next one is single-payer healthcare. This is where we start getting into a little bit more political discussion. But I really think that we ought to be, like, the government ought to be providing medicine and medical care for people, especially because the government spends so much on it already. It would actually be cheaper if the government was directly involved in like negotiating drug prices and treatment costs and things like that, because otherwise you get this very bonkers, like, lopsided system where people's health are the source of an inelastic demand, which means there is no length that you will not go to stay alive, so companies use that to then have higher prices. Malix SR, thank you for the follow. I was just going through some of my policy prescriptions for America. This is the future that leftists want. No, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, you're in the CT Worldwide? Nice. So yeah, single-payer healthcare, that's a big one. A lot of countries in Europe already have this. It wouldn't be that hard to implement. And then utilities, I think, should be nationalized. Because, again, I'm not really comfortable having... oh, you're Italian? Godspeed and my condolences over your recent election. Yeah, and in the United States, utilities are private. They're controlled by private companies, although usually these private companies have a degree of connection to the state government in their state. Like, I think Dominion Power in my state of Virginia is actually like a government corporation, which is like one step away from nationalization, but still it would be nice if utilities were not provided on the basis of profit, but rather on the basis of need. Things like that. Again, a lot of subsidies go to this already. We already pay, like, we have bills that are really standard. It'd be nice if those could just be rolled into like local taxes or whatever. That makes things way less complicated for homeowners, for consumers, for that kind of thing. That's a really slow green shell. And I also think that since utilities, I would consider to be pretty damn basic necessities, it's not good that they're locked behind a paywall. Again, like, water is considered a utility in the United States, and we have private water companies, which is no bueno. I mean, everybody knows the whole meme shit about Nestle and what they do to third world countries. They're not just doing that in third world countries. They do that here too. They, but instead of taking water out of the country, they keep it in the country and then just sell it to us for absurdly high prices. In fact, I could be mistaken, but there are some pretty infamous examples of like arbitrary price hiking after things like hurricanes have happened because companies realize that they can get away with it. Because like, what are people going to do? They're in a desperate position. They basically have no choice but to pay the money, or they go without water. But I think that's probably sufficient to put my case in point for nationalizing utilities. I got a bomb. Interesting. That's... I was almost certain that was going to hit me. This track doesn't have a lot of straightaways, I'm noticing. By the way, you're gonna see me losing a lot of VR in this session, most likely, because I want to talk and engage as much as I want to drive, and I'm also trying not to care very much about VR because I find that helps me have more fun with the game. Shit. Got him. Sorry, I'm. Dog eat dog world, it's Mario Kart. No, I'm fucking dumb. Okay, last. Oh yeah, unionization and cooperatives are another big thing for me. In the United States, granted, unionization has seen a massive uptick recently, which is great. But even still, there are a lot of states that have so-called right-to-work laws, which basically means that your employer can terminate you for any reason, including for no reason at all. And I think that needs to be done away with, and every workplace needs to have some sort of union representation. Usually I don't want to pick this track, but I haven't played it on stream yet, so... and a workers' co-op is effectively just a worker democracy, where like the business, instead of having a hierarchical structure with like appointed bosses and managers, the managers and like any hierarchy would be elected by the collectivity of the workplace. Kind of like how you elect local officials, municipal officials, higher government officials, and then they vote on things like spending. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. First item. Oh boy. Give me a mega. Dang. So I'm probably guaranteed last this race. What happened to the rest of the people? Did they just leave? That's a good item to pull after I've gotten small. And then related to the issue of representation and democracy, things like that, there needs to be a community policing policy with civilian oversight boards. In the United States, I know this might be... Oh, okay, I guess you can't land on that. This might be a surprise to some of you, but since in the United States, the police do not have to be from the precinct where they do the policing. Like, if somebody's a police officer in my town, they could be from the next town over, or even from out of state. I live pretty close to the state line, but, and what ends up happening as a result of this is that there are a lot of cities where a large number of minorities live, like ethnic minorities, and cities tend to be a little bit more left-leaning, but the suburbs outside of those cities are much more conservative. and full of a lot of racist people. So, disproportionately, racist people become cops and go to police the city where there are a lot of ethnic minorities, and that leads to a lot of police violence and not a lot of police accountability because, like, you don't know them on a personal level. Like, you don't, there's no real connection, there's no real incentive for the police to protect and serve, because they're not from there. So I think that, if, like, let's say you're policing in New York City, you should it should be the case that you have to be from the neighborhood where you're policing. In fact, I could be mistaken, but I think there are even studies to show that helps with outcomes in community policing, helps with trust, things like that, which is pretty good. And then also there need to be civilian oversight boards for the police. Because the police in America have what's called qualified immunity, which means that the government has decided, since policing is a dangerous job, which in the United States it actually isn't. But in theory, since it's kind of supposed to be, cops have immunity. Like, you can't prosecute them for things they did on the job, more or less. I'm simplifying that a bit, but that's kind of what it boils down to in a lot of cases. So if a cop shoots somebody, then they don't get in trouble for it. Not quite. I think that needs to be done away with. I'm gonna try to find a different room. Then another thing is green energy. That's pretty good, I think. Pretty simple, that one. Mortgage and rent control, also, big thing. Housing is super important. Without it, you could die of exposure, and that's pretty bad. So, not exactly comfortable with people having to pay sometimes more than 100% of their income if you're in a particularly expensive part of the country. People have to go in debt just to have housing at all. There's a homelessness crisis where in the United States there are 500,000 people that live without a home, but there are more than 2 million vacant homes throughout the country at any given time. And then I think that's it for, like, utilities and basic necessities. Our elections are kind of a mess as well. Private money, I think, should be banned from politics. In the United States, I know in a couple countries in Europe, it works in a way that makes a little bit more sense, where the government actually funds political campaigns. But in the United States, if you want to run for office, you have to do it with your own money or money that people have donated to you. So what that leads to is a lot of rich people run for office with rich people's interests in mind, and they get a lot of money from other rich people, which leaves people who are, more working class. Usually they get hung out to dry. There is an exception to this. There are exceptions to this. We have some members of Congress who were not, like, really wealthy before they ran for office. But either way, the involvement of, like, big business money in politics in any form just opens the door wide up to corruption, and that's what we've seen recently. There was actually a law or a bill. It wasn't a law yet, but if it became law, it would require any donation above $10,000 to be disclosed. It is, in fact, the problem is so bad and so pervasive that not only can businesses donate unlimited money to campaigns through various proxy organizations, they don't even have to tell you that they're donating it. They don't have to. The campaigns don't have to say where their money comes from. The businesses don't have to say where the money's going. Effectively, political campaigning in the United States is a very well-oiled machine for money laundering. And so that needs to be fixed real quick. And then on the flip side of that, when it actually comes to the voting, the United States has first past the post, which inherently leads to a two-party system, or leans very heavily into that. So I think we should do ranked choice or proportional representation, which, if I'm not mistaken, Italy does, among other countries. You know, that actually... Because right now, the only two parties in the United States are a kind of like centrist liberal party and a fascist party. Those are the only parties that we have. So, you know, it'd be nice if we had more representation than that. But I do also believe that the fascist party should be banned from running for office, because this is a democracy, and you shouldn't be allowed to run for office in a democracy if your position is, I will get rid of democracy. You know, I'm generally willing to bite the bullet on that. Like, oh, you want to restrict the freedom of fascists to be fascist and do fascist things in a democracy. Yeah, that's generally a thing that I want. Because the Weimar Republic, Germany, before the Nazis, was actually a democracy. And the Nazi Party used electoral politics, used elections to gain power before they started doing all their dictatorial bullshit. So, you know, we have the lessons of history, I think, to back us up on this one. Oops. Oh, what luck. You know, and that's not actually, that's not even to say that you can't have a conservative party. You can. It's just, you know, I'm fine with there being a litmus test that any political party in a democracy has to support there being a democracy, you know? Out here? Oh, frick. Old meme. Very old meme. But I love it. What else? What else have I got? This is a very beautiful track, I must say. There's like, among all the castle tracks, initially this one was actually very confusing to me. To take a break from me talking about my political prescriptions. This track, when I first saw it, I was like, oh my god, there's so many, you know, alternate routes. How am I going to deal with this? But now I actually quite enjoy it. Especially considering I, like, know how to play it. Okay. Don't go for that, by the way. It's not worth it. Yeah, it has like all the right shadowing. It's got like very well put together textures for like what the Wii can handle. Very cool stuff. What else? Oh yeah, also a lot of the things I'm suggesting, I'm aware, would cost a lot of money. And so, you know, when that's a concern, we gotta talk about taxes. So for like the top income brackets, like if you're an individual, like $400,000 a year and above, so not most people, your taxes would get hiked a bit. You know, I think that's pretty fair to do. And then I think there also should be taxes on wealth, on like not income necessarily, but like wealth, fortunes. So like stocks, unrealized capital gains. You just having a shitload of money in the bank, I guess. Like if you are a millionaire or a, like multimillionaire or a billionaire, you don't need all that money. Let some of that go back into the flow of things. It shouldn't the the idea of the wealthy giving back to society should not be an option that they get to decline. You know, because if they don't do that, then people starve, people go out of work, people go out of housing. You know, the consequences, I think, of not taking a bit of that money to use for the common good are too bad to just not do it. Oh god, this track is a doozy. That's what I'll say. Getting an item here. Ow. I drove right into that. And I also support, and by the way, all these taxes that I'm thinking of are like designed to only really hit rich people. I also support a high inheritance tax. You know, like when somebody passes away and they have a very large sum of money or wealth that they give to the, you know, whoever's in their will, that should be taxed. And there are like, there are very easy and noble ways of doing this because we've had high inheritance taxes before, we've had high corporate taxes, things like that. It wouldn't be that hard to implement. So that should that I included as kind of like the answer to the inevitable question of how do we pay for all this, you know, because stuff like that always comes up. What? Get me fourth. Yeah. So yes, me when I play Mario Kart. Yes, taxes. And then, ooh, another spicy one. I think every news outlet should be public broadcasting. Because currently there is a problem wherein a lot of news outlets are, again, kind of like political campaigns. A lot of rich people and you know, corporations that have a lot of money donate money to news outlets so they can stay running. And as a result, those news outlets are much, much nicer to, you know, rich people and powerful people that give them money. And in fact, this has in the past led to news organizations not running stories that would, you know, make their donors look bad. You know, because, oh, then they might stop giving you that money. I don't know, guys. And when I say like public broadcasting, what I don't mean is state television. You know, in Russia, the obvious example is that RT, TASS, you know, basically Russian state TV is all controlled by the government there, and that's horrible. I don't want that. But what I do want is government money going to fund these news outlets, because that would be, you know, unconditional. PBS exists, and PBS runs stories that make the government look pretty bad sometimes. You know, having state-funded things that are not state-controlled is pretty frequent. In fact, one need only look at industry in America to see this, like with agribusiness getting all those subsidies. That's state funding, but they're not state controlled. You know, so the same thing goes for media outlets. And in fact, that, the main idea is it alleviates the whole pressure that they would be like expected to uphold the interests of their donors, because donor money is conditional, whereas like budgetary spending is not conditional. You know? Like if the government says we will give this much to education, like to education spending for the states or whatever, or the government says we'll spend this much on, I don't know, healthcare and like research and whatever. There's no strings attached to that money. That's just money for orgs to like use and have. It's kind of like the building of roads. Roads are built with government money, upkept with government money. There are no strings attached to using those roads, generally speaking. Like if I go outside, go walk to the barbershop that's relatively close to my house, all those roads and sidewalks were built with public money. And there's not a thing that the government expects of the citizenry as a result of it, aside from you pay your taxes to pay for it, because that's how the government gets money. But with that said, I'm going to try to run through these last things so I can talk about more interesting stuff, more game-relevant stuff. Because this has actually been a fun session. I know it's not always the most interesting thing to listen to me talk about politics. Ooh, I did the expert strategy. Drug decriminalization is a big thing. People don't like being drug addicts. Big shocker. But, people don't like it when they get addicted to drugs, because usually it happens, like, against their better instincts or whatever, and, it just doesn't feel good from secondhand personal experience. Like, I've talked to people who've had addiction problems in the past. It's not fun. It causes real emotional hurt to them, to people in their life, and putting them in prison isn't going to fix anything. But putting them in rehab programs, that actually can help them make a lot of headway. But even if, even when people do get put in prison for stuff that usually is pretty justified, like murder, violent crimes, assault, battery, whatever, that sort of thing. Prison conditions shouldn't be, like, unlivable. Obviously, there's always going to be, prison shouldn't exactly be a nice place, because it's kind of like, there still needs to be, on some level, the element of you're getting put in timeout. But it needs to, the prison system in America really needs to focus more on how do you actually help people realize that what they did was a mistake, and help them actually grow as a person and not do it again. That's a question that we don't usually talk about that much. Oh no, I died. Oh, what? A bomb? Why? Bro. I wanted mushroom. Get it out of here. Another bomb. Get out of here. What? I'm in second? No, okay. It was the place counter getting messed up. I don't like this track very much. Oh. But then reparations, another thing. Let's see, reparations meaning like investment in disenfranchised communities with like ethnic minority communities and things like that. A lot of times they don't get a lot of money, and it's kind of a feedback loop, which sucks. Banking, I think, should be nationalized because, well, private banks cannot be trusted to save anybody's life. You know, we've had banking crisis after banking crisis after banking crisis. I think it's only so long before people start realizing, like, this is not working. You know, especially because most of what banks do is just speculative investing. They take your money and they gamble it. Fortunately, they're, like, insurance things and whatever, so that, like, if they gamble all your money away, you still have that money, technically. But, you know, it's, very not needed profession, very not needed sector. In that sense, like the speculative investing. Obviously, investing in general is pretty good, because a lot of on paper you can give money to countries that need it, or communities that need it, like as an investment, and then they use that money, they get dividends off that, which means they get more money out of it than was put into it, and then they can pay it back, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I think pensions need to come back as well. In the United States, there are no pensions unless you work in like a government. Like, unless you're a politician, unironically, unless you're a politician in the United States, you can't get a pension. There are pensions for, like, politicians and stuff, but if you're, like, just in a regular government job, or if you're in a not government job, like working at an office or a factory, you get what's called a 401k or a 403b. Which is basically, we're going to take money that you want to retire with, and we're going to put it in the stock market. And, you know, you just have to cross your fingers and hope that when your work is done, that money is enough for you to live the rest of your life off of. And if it's not, then you have to work till you're like, well, until you die. So yeah, pensions would be good. I think the protections for protected classes need to be much more strongly adhered to. That's a pretty obvious thing. Oh, yes, there are a couple policing agencies in the United States that were invented just to harass minorities, and those need to be abolished. ICE and DHS being the big ones. And then, you know, wiretapping and online surveillance needs to go as well. That's cringe. I don't like it when people watch me be on the internet and I don't know about it. I mean, I do know about it, but it's like, I don't know. It's super creepy and dystopian that the government has their eye on you literally at all times in America. Literally, Big Brother is watching. Yeah. So, to recap very briefly, in the America where the left got everything that it wants, college would be free, nobody would go hungry, nobody would have a hard time traveling, everybody would be paid a proper wage as a result of worker representation, elections would not be something that you could just buy and pay for with a lot of money, you know, people wouldn't have to bankrupt themselves trying to pay for basic expenses, the police wouldn't, you know, break your skull in if you were, like, vaguely confused at their orders. And, you know, we would, things would be good, basically. Oh, I'm dead. Sorry. This has been a leftist stream. Now, back to the game. I don't know if anybody's a fan of Smash Bros. Here, but the Big House 10 is happening this weekend, so that should be loads of fun. I myself am a big fan of Smash. Big fan. Very big fan. Nobody can believe this. Oh, okay, well. Nightlife Party is kind of a weird track, you know? It's aesthetically, it doesn't feel very current. You know, it feels like the track is just a little bit older. Even though I know it was released in about the same time, same era, same whatever, as a lot of the tracks that I really like for being, like, very aesthetically pleasing. Gives decent races, I would say. I think there's one turn in particular that should be fixed. It's like that weird hairpin turn. That's kind of odd one. Anyway. Sorry, I'm willing to bet that actually... I know it's very weird and almost conspiratorial of me to say, but I am willing to bet money that a lot of people left the custom track room... Holy shit, -6 for a second. I'm willing to bet a lot of people left the custom track room because I was taking up all the air on stream talking about politics and shit. And how I'm a huge leftist. And shit like that. I don't know. It's just me speculating. It could also be that in Europe, a lot of people who play this game are in EU, and now is about dinner time for EU people. That's a possibility. But yeah, America's got problems. America's got hella problems. But all of those problems can be fixed, given enough time and, you know, just a few right-minded policy changes, enough time, and enough actually social conditioning as well. There are quite a few social biases that pose a big problem in America that, you know, you can't just legislate away. Like imagine you get up there and you're like, it is now illegal to be racist. Like, that's not going to go over well. It's politically infeasible and kind of dumb if you just go out there and say that. And besides, there's already laws against institutional racism. Ah, it's the same room. Oh well, looks like I'm gonna be hanging out with these guys for the duration of the stream. But back to the Big House 10. I was watching that actually a little bit earlier. I saw that Leffen lost actually to 2 Canadian Fox players. Leffen lost to Sunsei in winner's bracket, and then actually got eliminated by Moki in losers. Which I think is very cool, very pog. Because I think Leffen is a weenie, and also plays the game like a weenie. Yeah. But also Moki plays really cool, so I'm glad to see him win. Who's this guy in first? He's on the me. Oh, dude, he's on me mockback as well. Let's go. My brother. Mango, my personal favorite melee player, Mango it seems like he's been going on strong for most of the bracket. Let me see if there's much more. Oh my god, Amsa 3-1 Hungry Box. You can say beat Pipsqueak, pretty impressive. H-Box barely squeaked by Moki 3-2. Okay. And Fiction beat pipsqueak. So in top 8, there's gonna be in the Zane beat Kador and J-Mook beat S2J. That's pretty standard. So top 8 is going to be Amsa versus Sunsei and Mango versus IBDW. That's gonna be a treat to watch. And then losers top 8 is gonna be Fiction versus Hungrybox and J-Mook versus Zane. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. What a tournament this has been so far. I've been watching I just noticed recently last stream I was talking about anime that I am watching currently and that I wanted to watch in the future. I didn't realize that the like second section, I don't know if it's the second half or whatever, of JoJo Part 6, Stone Ocean was out, but I've been watching Stone Ocean the past couple of days. And I gotta say, that is one hell of an anime. I've been loving it. Because, of course, it is a very interesting show set in the dystopian prison hellhole that we know as Florida. And every main character in that show is a lesbian icon, which I support, especially since every main character in previous iterations of the show was a gay icon. It is only fitting. Whoa, I hella slow on that guy. Oh, dude, that guy's on the Quacker? What a god. Alberto, I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna try to not hit Alberto with this green shell. Oh no! And as soon as I say that, that's exactly who I hit. God damn it. Please don't hit Alberto. I'm begging you, man. Oh, thank goodness. Guy with the thundercloud did not get to me. Fortunately, I'm gonna take this mushroom here. Cut across this little bit of grass. Now, if a blue shell comes, I'm fucked. Okay, I'm good. Ooh. I front ran Peach Circuit and ran by a mile. I hate that track. So I will not pick it again. But now I have played it at least once on stream. What's going on? 2 viewers. Welcome to the stream, guys. First place. It looks like I'm going to have to stick with this room because this is the only room that's up right now on CGGP. What? 1 viewer. Where'd you go? Where did he go? Did he hit the gritty? He hit the gritty. 9,008. Alright, now we'll go back to these. Sunset Wilds, I think I have done. Toad's Turnpike. Regrettably, I have raced a couple of times. So let's go for Wario Stadium. Grantham MK, hello. Welcome back. I think I recognize you. Oh, what's up, Malix? I'm done talking about the future that liberals want, or rather, the future that leftists want. A lot of liberals would disagree with me on that hour-long tirade I did. And now I'm talking about the big house. Super Smash Bros. Tournament going on. Been very interesting thus far. What? This track? Do you guys know I have Taz'd this track? There's actually a video of it up on my YouTube channel. I did a tool assist of this track. It's not the greatest because I use a... Oh, what's up, Grantham? Right behind me. I used a controller to do the Taz. I like had one hand on the controller and then I would use the spacebar or whatever for frame advance, and I would use save states and whatever. But I know this track pretty well, I think. Although, that is not to say that my performance has reflected that, in both in this race and in previous races that I've done on this track. That somehow worked out. You know what? No, never mind. All planned. It was 100% planned. On purpose. I did that on purpose. I'm holding these. Shock just happened, so I should be fine. Damn it. Who bows there? What in the world? What the hell? Oh, okay, well. I got a few people. Hello, senor. Japanese name person who is evidently in Europe somewhere. I got wheelie bumped twice. Green shells. What the f— I planned that. I did it on purpose. I'm a genius. Biggest brain in the world. Ah. All right. They call me biggest dickus. They don't. I lied. Hello, Melex. Ah, you tried to get me with that green, you cheeky bastard. Revenge. Kind of. Ooh. Damn it. Okay. Alright. Here we go. Yay. Big boy shortcut. God, that is a hell of a shortcut. Ah, no. Oh yeah, also, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I have some custom texture hacks. Every Bowser Jr. on my screen is Hammer Bro. And every Yoshi on my screen is actually Red Yoshi. Ooh, a POW again? I know exactly where I'm going to use this. I'm going to use it in the same fucking spot. God damn it. The same exact thing happened as last time. Who could have foreseen this? A bomb. Well, I got fourth. Five viewers? Hot dog. Yeah, that was a clutch Mega Mushroom. This is actually as many viewers as I've ever had, if you can believe that. Nice milestone. Woo. I have a texture for every character on every vehicle. That is dope. I only have textures for 2 characters, I think, being Yoshi, who is just Red Yoshi, and then Bowser Jr., who is Hammer Bro, because I don't like Bowser Jr. In this game. I much prefer him to be Hammer Bro. And then I also actually have a texture pack for most of the default tracks in the game. Speaking of liberals, usually the thing that they're trying to support, they have no idea what they're talking about. That's what I observe. Yeah, sometimes they actually don't really understand with understand the nitty-gritty of the policies that they support, but they're more willing to engage with the issue, in my experience, than conservatives are. You play Smash? That is cool. I love Smash Bros. I play quite a few characters. Like, I don't have a single main in Smash. But I do consistently like Captain Falcon because he's big muscle man with coat buttons that look like they're his nipples, so extra funny factor. You main Mario? Respectable, respectable. Thump Bump Forest. You mean Bowser? Bowser is quite the character. Do you play Smash on stream? Yeah, I have before. I actually was thinking about doing it again sometime. I don't know how many people would go for that. It seems like a lot of people enjoy me playing Mario Kart, but I was thinking of actually playing Slippy doubles. Slippy actually has a feature. You can play Melee online, and if you go into like the tag enter thing or whatever, and you type in like the acronym for a region, you'll like get matched in that region for doubles. You just gotta like click top of the screen. I don't remember exactly how it works. Oh, I guess I don't have my mushroom. Yeah, usually I would play singles, but my dad also plays, and we team sometimes. We used to team. Lately he hasn't had a ton of time on his hands because work fucking sucks for just about everybody. But I want to play teams again so I can get back into teaming with him, and so that we can actually be like a formidable team if we go to events in the future. Because we've teamed at God, it's been forever. We teamed at Pound 2016. That was the first. I think the first major I went to where I was actually entered the bracket. And then we teamed at a couple of locals, I remember. But I you know, we didn't really get that many opportunities to do a whole lot because that was back when I was in high school. But now I'm actually done with college, and I'm trying to do this full time. So if I get good at teams again, I could help, you know, make it easier for him to get back into it. You know, and then we could team again, and we'd be the father and son team, and everybody'd be like, "What is this 50-some-year-old man doing playing Smash Bros?" And then they'd be like, "Why did I lose to him?" And it'd be a very, very cool meme, I think. So yeah, maybe next stream I'll play some Slippy doubles, so I can learn to be better doubles player. What did I go to college for? I was an anthropology major. Unfortunately, my college did not have a separate degree for archaeology. But by my bachelor's degree says that I am an anthropologist, and I am trained in archaeological methods. Ah, damn it. But yeah, I really enjoyed archaeology when I did it. It was one of the few like academic subjects that I felt like I could really be in my element when I engaged with it. Because when I went to college, initially I thought like, oh, I want to do history because I really like history. But then I discovered that like it is a ton of reading, and not just like garden variety reading either. It's like thick ass books. You know, and like I took some intro courses in freshman year, as you do, and I figured out, okay, history might not be the thing that I want to do, but I also don't want to do physics, even though I enjoy that as well, because there's so much math, and I really don't enjoy math, even though people have told me that I'm good at it. I don't want to do something that I don't have fun with. And then I actually took a intro to archaeology course. Shortcut is so weird, yeah. I took an intro to archaeology course in freshman year, and I loved every minute of it. You know, it was like it was less writing and reading than something like history or sociology, but it was also like it was more hands-on stuff. You know, history very highly words on paper, but in archaeology, I got to actually engage with artifacts, real artifacts from from Civil War era stuff, from like colonial era stuff, and we got to learn about like how identifying artifacts works and things like that, and how people used to live in like just on an individual level, on a community level, and on a societal level. Life was so much different in so many ways that we don't even realize. Just 300 years ago. And I instantly fell in love with the discipline, but not with the people who write in the discipline, because let me tell you, academics do not know how to write, and they also have a lot of. You're taking U.S. history in school right now. Very cool. I really enjoyed U.S. history when I was in school, but I noticed a lot of things. You've been to D.C. before? I live right outside of D.C. I went to college up in Pennsylvania. But what was I talking about? Archaeology. Yes, academics. One thing I noticed. This is actually super big brain. If you guys, some of you guys aren't in college yet, and you go to college for like history or archaeology or whatever, every academic writer, everybody that is writing something has a bias, and in fact has several biases. So any source that claims to be unbiased is not telling you the truth. The key thing that I learned, my biggest takeaway from college, is that the most important thing about that sort of writing is to recognize the biases and to read around them and appreciate the points of the essay or whatever, while understanding the biases instead of trying to get rid of them, because you can never get rid of bias. It's like just by virtue of being a human with experience, you have biases. And sometimes biases are good, sometimes biases are bad. For example, racism is a bias, but believing that good things are good, things that benefit people are good, that is also a bias. So sometimes it's okay. Yeah. But yeah, I ended up back to my college experience and stuff. I ended up holding off on declaring a major. In the United States, how it works is you can go to college as an undeclared major, and there are certain general education requirements that you have to do in college. So I made sure to do those first. 7 viewers, welcome to the stream, guys. I made sure to do those first, so that I could have them out of the way, and then could focus on things that I wanted to do and classes that I found interesting. And I think by the time sophomore year came around, I think I had gotten most of my general ed stuff done by the time sophomore year was over. And I actually decided at the beginning of sophomore year that I enjoyed archaeology so much I was going to declare that as my major. I kept taking archaeology classes. All of them were mostly really fun because I got to read a lot about indigenous people. Actually, in the United States, you can't do archaeology without talking extensively about indigenous people. So that was a lot of fun to learn, because in high school you don't really get any of that. The United States high school history curriculum is very whitewashed. Even when they tell you about some of the really awful things that the United States did, it doesn't cover the half of it. But it also talks about the cooler stuff, like native communities that are still around, and what the native culture entails, and how they did their thing. How can we tell which native groups are more associated with what, and also how to do ethical archaeology with the native people, because archaeology, how you do it, usually you consult with Native Americans for their relevant cultural artifacts and I took actually a class that was centered mostly around that. It was called public archaeology, and it was like the whole idea of the class was how do you do an archaeological project that deals with the area where an indigenous community lives. Like how do you maintain a good ethical system, interacting with them, making sure everything's okay. You're currently in high school. Godspeed. High school was really difficult for me, by virtue of like very restrictive social conditions. College felt liberating, even though there were a myriad of problems that I had in college. Adjusting to that environment, I enjoyed it so much more than high school. You're in high school too. Very cool. You guys probably want to start thinking a little bit about higher education, because if you're in the United States, there's a whole lengthy application process. You're a junior, yeah, definitely got to start thinking about that. Going to college in the spring, congratulations. Where do you think about where do you think you're going? You don't have to tell me specific place, just like state, region. You're in second year. Cool. Second year for me, like in high school and in college, seemed to be like a really good year. Some people have different like patterns of adjustment. But in the second year of high school, I had a really good time, and in the second year of college, I had a really good time. Partly because in college, I lived in the international students' house. Gonna get a 2-year business degree? Cool. Definitely 2-year degrees, I think, are very underrated. In college, the hey, finally a stream that combines Mario Kart Wii and leftism. Welcome to the stream. You are exactly the kind of person I'm trying to attract. Either that or political normies or whoever. Yeah, I was just talking about my personal college experience and all that. The living arrangements in college were very interesting to dissect, actually, from a political perspective. Because in freshman year, obviously you get put in the freshman dorms. There were the dorms meant specifically for the freshmen, and apparently they were like not very good. And considering how much this place was charging for tuition costs, it was pretty concerning, because I got lucky. I got put in the only freshman dorm that actually had air conditioning. So I was like, yikes. And they made us pay for laundry, which was again, pretty yikesy. Usually laundry at a higher education institution would be like included in tuition costs or whatever. That was definitely a like big adjustment period for me, having to live in a dorm room environment where I kind of knew the people, but I also really I didn't, like just introducing myself to them for the first time. But I think really where I sort of hit the stride of it was sophomore year, at least a little bit. I lived in the international students' house. Like, I myself am not an international student. I'm an American. I was born here, but I am part Moroccan, and the school where I went was pretty predominantly white. A lot of white people, not a lot of black people, not a lot of brown people, etc. So I was kind of like the diversity pick, even though in high school I was very much considered white. So I think that had an effect on me getting accepted into the international students' house, which was a much nicer dorm than my first year freshman dorm. But we actually had there were quite a few international students. There were a couple people from Nepal, I remember. There was a woman from Georgia who I got to talking to on occasion. There was a lady from Bosnia, girl from Bosnia-Herzegovina, who I came to really admire, and everybody just died there. I was I don't know if friends would be a good way to put this, but certainly like acquaintances on pretty good terms with her all throughout the rest of college. And overall, it felt like it felt like I was in a pretty good spot housing-wise that year. Because of like literally because of the diversity of people, it didn't feel like everybody was like the same person. You know, because so much of like, I guess, you know, college may have actually made me have a little bit of a prejudice towards white people, as funny as that is. You know, the whole reverse racism meme, but it seemed like every like upper middle class white person that went to this college was almost the same. Uh, so you know, my friends and I had a good laugh about that on occasion. Um, yeah. I think actually, usually I only stream for 2 hours, but I think today I'm going to go a little bit longer if you guys are willing to stay for longer, because I'm having a great time and, you know, don't exactly want to end it anytime soon. So I did Wario Stadium. Have I done Dry Desert? I don't believe I have, so I'm going to pick it. But yeah, all throughout all 4 years, I don't think there was a single semester where I didn't have archaeology courses. Just finished a Delfino texture. That's sick. 1 week was developing it. God damn. Yeah, texture hacking is a lot of work. I actually looked into recently like custom track creation. That shit is hard. The other week was troubleshooting it. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I was looking into custom track creation recently because I wanted to. There's this game I used to play when I was a kid called Hot Wheels Stunt Track Challenge on the Nintendo Game Boy Advance. Yeah, you kind of just want it to work and then it doesn't, and then yeah, I have a friend who's a programmer and he's told me like, yeah, that's pretty much all of programming. It's like you want it to work and then it doesn't, and then you want to understand why it doesn't work, and then it just decides to work and you're left confused the whole time. Oh, don't squish me. When I was real little, there was a game I used to play on the Game Boy called Hot Wheels Stunt Track Challenge, and this game was it was a racing game with Hot Wheels, and the courses there like were super long, but they left a lasting impression in my mind because each one had a distinct theme. And I actually recently thought, what if I could incorporate that into Mario Kart Wii? Like, what if there was some way to bring the tracks into Mario Kart, but, you know, maybe not have them be 3-4 minutes long like they were in the original game? Because, like, think about how long Mushroom Peaks is. Every track in this game was that long. You know. It's very, very unfortunate part of that, but they were a lot of fun to drive because they had very interesting like turns and sections. And I remember it was a theme that every one except for like I think the last one had a loop-de-loop, and it had this interesting way of doing a loop-de-loop where you would drive into it, right? And then once the game was like, okay, you're in the loop-de-loop, it basically just had a cutscene of you driving at a set speed as you went through the loop-de-loop, which is super interesting to me. Because, you know, that sort of stuff can be really hard to do, especially on something like the Game Boy. But I guess, you know, developers made it work. Red Shell. Oh. What up, Grimace? Ah, damn it. Ooh. But yeah, I actually, my degree is actually, my college degree, going back to that briefly, is in my room. I wanted to hang it up in the wall so I could actually look at it and be, like, a little bit proud of myself. Because that's one of the things I struggled a lot with throughout college. And in the latter days of high school as well, is self-esteem issues. And so I think if I put some reminders in my room that there are things that are worth valuing about myself, it would help me a lot, you know. Because another huge thing that I had to do in college is come to terms with and learn how to live with the fact that I have depression. and it's very real. It's, despite it literally being all in my head, it is a very real impediment to living everyday life. There's the cliche out of it was so hard to get out of bed, but that's genuinely what it feels like sometimes. And sometimes there were certain days where things felt like a Herculean effort, like Hercules doing his 12 trials and whatever. That just maintaining a baseline routine felt like that sometimes. But I knew it was good to do it because like there is no way out of that. You just have to be able to get through it and live with it. And eventually I did actually, it got to the point where I reached out for help, and I do medicate now. So I'm not having nearly as much trouble living with depression, living with myself, as I was in college. But, I think my degree symbolizes actually the degree to which, well, funny, I should say, the degree to which I was able to actually overcome the challenges put forward in part by myself. I think that's nice. And at the same time, I also have autism, which recently I learned, like, who doesn't, realistically. But, autism plus depression plus Tourette's syndrome, makes for not a good time in terms of trying to live inside your own head. Having trust issues ever since makes it kind of hard to open up. And you're autistic also? Yeah, I mean, that's a, it's a hard, it's a hard not life for us, to quote, what is it? Annie? Is that movie back in the day? Very old movie. Myself personally, I don't think I've ever had somebody else betray me. Funnily enough, most of the emotional harm, and sometimes even physical harm in my life has come from me specifically. Yeah. And that's actually part of what prompted me to look for help. Is that I realized, like, I'm literally hurting myself by doing this. Even though I'm maintaining a relatively normal appearance to people around me, it's like my brain is gradually plotting a self-destruct course, and I gotta eventually make a very conscious decision to stop that. Yeah, well, here's the thing, is that eventually I found a better way of looking at it, is that I'm not the problem. It's depression is almost a separate force of thought in my head. There were certain times when, like, I think the day that I realized, the literal day that I realized that I needed serious help was when there was, like, I could almost isolate the depression as a tumor in my brain, generating an endless stream. Like, how GLaDOS in Portal 2 was like, Wheatley clung to me like a tumor, generating an endless stream of terrible ideas. Replace terrible ideas with, like, borderline, TOS ideas. And that's how depression operates. And, because when you say that you yourself are the problem, sometimes that just makes depression worse, because a lot of how depression manifested was self-loathing. And nobody wants to hate themselves. Nobody enjoys the feeling of hate. And I really did not want to become a hateful person. Didn't get diagnosed till after college. Yeah, a lot of people have that, that cocktail, and have so much to learn and unlearn. Yeah, it is a huge learning process for a lot of people, myself included, and it's a lifelong learning process. But ultimately, I think the way through it for me was just basically to understand, like, okay, what do I need to feel like I'm living an okay life, and just relentlessly, like, relentlessly have that in my brain. Like, don't let anything make me forget about that. For me, because I'm a huge nerd, it was actually like, okay, I got to start thinking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There's basic needs, there's like self-fulfillment needs or self-actualization needs, whatever. I got to make sure that I'm trying to like meet each of those needs so I can feel like I'm living my life as a proper person. You know, and I'm still working on the like social needs part of that, but I think I've got, you know, ironically through regimentation and routine, I've managed to get a decent enough scheme for the like basic material needs and whatnot. And of course, it is a massive help that I have come from fortunate socioeconomic circumstances, you know, and probably won't ever go hungry a day in my life, and all that. It leaves me to basically worry about, for what a lot of people is the easy part. But yeah, sorry to come down on that phrasing, Coco Bandera, but in high school I thought I had the realization that like, oh, I'm the problem, but then that carried with me through college and it led to a lot of harm. So, you know, I basically think of depression as a separate, oh, you fell off, that sucks. I basically have started thinking of depression as like a separate, almost a separate personality that lives in my head that I have to maintain a distinction between. You know, because like there actually came a point where I was literally unable to stop having depressive thoughts. Even when I was able to say, I'm having depressive thoughts, stop. It always came back to like, you're nothing, you're worthless, blah, blah, blah. Your game froze? What the fuck? That sucks. Oh no, CGGP crash? I hate it when that happens. You never understood why people smoke? It's, yeah, I mean, I've had known people who both have asthma and have smoked in the past. There's a, the reason for it, ironically, is because of mental health problems that people, smoke. My friend code, I can, after this race, I can go back to the menu screen and I'll give you my friend code. In fact, I'll just give you guys friend code if you want. There's only like 5 or 6 of you here, so no harm in it, I feel. You know, talking to people I know who have been through smoking, who used to have a nicotine addiction and who actually got off of it. Yeah, obviously I will not name names. It was because of things like social pressure and because of depression that they felt like they needed some sort of out. And the nicotine buzz is a pretty convenient out when it gets started. But nicotine can do a lot of things, especially when you're, you know, when you're depressed and when you're young. When you're young, if you start smoking or vaping, nicotine stunts your growth. Like, you will actually be, you know, you'll be shorter and less developed. Yeah, people don't tell you this, but, you know, because it's not very profitable for nicotine companies to tell you this, but, you know, you could be shorter, less developed, more malnourished if you've done nicotine in any appreciable amount before the time that you're fully matured. No! You lost a shit ton of VR? It's okay, dude, that's, like, this is actually an opportune moment for another pro tip. All the races that I've been doing, I don't care about VR. I could have 6,000 VR, I could have 5,000 VR for all I care. I actually view it, I've come to view it as a beautiful privilege that I get to race custom tracks online with other people. You know, because every single track here is a work of art. Win or lose, I'm interested in the drive. In fact, on my very first Mario Kart stream, I talked about how 3 years ago, in 2019, I was playing Mario Kart Online. I experienced that very same thing. I lost, I think, 13 or 1400 VR in a single hour-long session. I dropped from almost 9,000 to like 7,400. And it felt like, because I invested so much like emotional effort into VR and stuff, like it was such a big hit that I actually put down my controller and said, I'm quitting Mario Kart Wii. you know, and true to my word, for 3 years I did not touch Mario Kart Wii Online. I still played offline occasionally because I enjoyed the drive, but like I just saw it as this like toxic vortex that I couldn't escape. But then later that same year, or potentially even the year after, I was watching Enmead content. Yeah, I know it's unfair. The racing and then getting Mario Kart is pretty unfair. But hear me out here. I was watching Enmead, one of his videos on like I actually remember it was a Coconut Mall time trial video where they started doing the new strat of where you trick off of the in that one straightaway, you trick off of the two little trickable things like the tool assist does, because that's faster than taking the boost panel. And I commented like I remember discovering this. Oh shit, you're right. Dang it, I forgot to quit out. Hold on, I can't go back, can I? No, I can't. Damn it. Yeah, that was me 3 years ago. But then when I was one day when I was watching 10 viewers, welcome to the stream. When I was watching Enmead, and I saw this strategy that I had actually known about for a while because I'd been watching like Taz videos and stuff. I left a comment like, "Hey, I remember seeing stuff like this, but I remember thinking like, nobody's gonna nobody would who would believe a kid like me. I didn't know for sure if it was faster or not." And Enmead actually responded to my comment. It's like, "Hey, don't get down on yourself like that. Your voice matters in this community, and it's really the point of Mario Kart community is just to have the people here." I think was the gist of his comment. And that didn't immediately get me back into it. That didn't immediately get me back on my feet, but it planted the seed in my head that eventually grew into the thought process that culminated this year into me coming back to Mario Kart Wii. And I actually, now that I have people here, I would like to thank Enmead for providing me, a few years earlier, the inspiration for like coming back to this. Yeah, you were so bored you broke out the PC. Yeah, it happens. But ever since that day, I tried to like remember like, okay, I gotta remember what makes me have fun in this game, and that the stuff that's not fun is really just stuff that I assign value to because it's a number on the screen, and my little depression autism brain says it's good when number go up and it's bad when number go down. But if you can manage to overcome the whole like number go up, number go down thing, Mario 64 ROM hacks, those are fun. Mario Kart, you unlock a whole new world of appreciation for the race and the drive in Mario Kart than if you're just worrying about VR. In fact, I've come to appreciate the Mario Kart channels I watch even more. The TWG98 videos when he's like, "As we know, VR is everything." Because the joke is that it's not. It's just a little number on the screen. That's a like arbitrary points number that gets assigned to you based on how well you place in a race, and that is totally, a lot of times is totally luck based, and it's okay to have low VR. Nobody should ever think lower of you if the number is 4,000 rather than if the number is 8,000. And that's been me before. I started at 5,000. For the longest time I couldn't reach 7,000 when I was in like middle and high school, and now I'm at 9,000, and I don't care that much. Yeah, it's the same as GSP in Smash Ultimate Online. Now, I don't play Smash Ultimate Online for a different reason, because I think oh, that was very odd. Smash Ultimate Online I don't like because it's like the super laggy and stuff, and it just generally like detracts from the gameplay experience, I think. That makes it kind of a drag for me. But yeah, GSP is another just like little arbitrary measure. And in fact, the only context in which VR does matter, because there is one context, is one that I've decided not to care about. I've been on stream before making fun of competitive players for certain tracks that they like that I don't. And I remember, you know, back in my competitive days, that's why I have the MKR on my tag here. That for a lot of clans, a prerequisite was having a certain VR for them letting you join. But I don't care about competitive Mario Kart. I just like, you know, driving. You know, and that's not to say I don't still get frustrated. Sometimes there are elements of the game that are frustrating. But what immensely helps is just being able to laugh at yourself. You know, I've gotten Mario Karted on stream before. It's been like the last race of the session. I get blown out, go from first to last, and I laugh, and then it's like, oh, that's funny, because, you know, somebody sees the me head spinning out a ton, you know, it's like, oh, and I got blue shelled, and I got red shelled, and I got bulleted. Whatever, there's always more Mario Kart to play. Yeah, the only important thing is that you're having fun. It's the most cliche line in the book, but it applies. Believe me, it applies. And if you're not having fun, there is nothing wrong in... Oh my god, you're right. I got so sidetracked. Yeah, no, VR is not an interpretation of skill level. Malix, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna keep... tell you what, on lap 3 of this race, on lap 3, please remind me to quit out so I can show people my friend code. I gotta remember to do that. You know, and if you're not having a good day, if you're, you know, if you're getting frustrated, there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, I'm just gonna put the game down, you know, and do something else. Yeah, you can play better than your VR shows. You can play worse than your VR shows. Earlier on stream, I was, you know, talking about other stuff and getting blown out left and right. You know, 9,000 VR Andy over here getting last in a room full of 6,000 players because I was talking the whole time, you know, and that I was totally okay with that. You know, and I try to adopt this this attitude with other games as well. Like, if I'm not having fun with this game, it's like, man, this is really frustrating. If I feel like I'm going to get mad at the game, because I've had anger issues in the past. You know, just put it down. There's nothing wrong with deciding this game isn't fun. I don't want to play it today. You know, and maybe I'll want to play it tomorrow. You know, and I think actually there is a social element to this that needs to be addressed in a lot of gaming communities, is the stigmatization of saltiness. Like the stigmatization of being salty. It's 100% okay to be salty. These are emotions that everybody feels. Games are designed to, you know, make you feel good when you win and a little bit frustrated when you lose. You know? And if you're frustrated when you lose, that's okay. And, you know, if you want to take a break, you can take a break. There's nothing wrong with it. Your game crashed again? What the fuck? When like, did it crash on startup, or is it like crashing when you're already in game? Ooh. Yo, what's up, Yoreni? Y0R3N1, I don't know how to pronounce it. I have a question, where can I download custom position counter icons? I can't find anything on the wiki. I actually don't know about custom position counter icons, because I don't have them. If I knew, I would, if I knew, I would direct you, but sadly I don't. So I'm sorry. Welcome to the stream as well, by the way. Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, if it's an on startup thing, you might need to do the toothpaste, the toothpaste trick. Yeah, that'll happen. Oh, you want to know something something interesting? I was talking a little bit earlier about how I've tazzed Mario Kart tracks. If I really want to, like, farm views on YouTube, I actually have found a way to do it, and I found it by accident. I did a little while back. I did a Taz of Cave Island. This was before before the track was added to CTGP, and it ended up getting like a few hundred views, and I think it was because, like, People who enjoy Mario Kart want to see more Mario Kart content. But every custom track isn't in CTGP. And I gotta quit out. I remember. I gotta quit out so people can add my friend code. Oh, top 2. That's right. Let's go, Grantham. I made a, Taz of Cave Island. So I think in the future, if I can get like a Bluetooth dongle or something like that, I might do more tool assists of other custom tracks that aren't in CTGP yet that I think are really cool. Want to do fun rooms? We could do fun rooms. Here, a quick game. All right. No, do not disconnect. 7 viewers. Yeah. This is actually the most attention any of my streams have ever gotten, so I'm very happy about that. Yeah, this is my me mock bike license. If y'all want to add me, there's my friend code at the bottom of the screen there. In the meantime, we can just hang out and chat if you guys want. Yeah, I have 2 accounts, both of which are 3 stars. There's this one, and then there's one that's just my middle name. You literally search MKW tasks and sort by upload date every couple of weeks. That's cool. That's a great way to find content. Yeah, I need a little Bluetooth USB thing because my computer doesn't have. Here, register a friend. How do I see friend requests in this? I think I have to like go somewhere on the main menu, right? Full honesty, you hacked your 3-star rating. I just got it legit. It's not that hard. Get owned. I'm just kidding. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with hacking a 3-star rating because it doesn't really matter, anyways. Do I have to? Oh, do I have to do like somebody else's friend code as well? I believe I do. Here, hold on. Let me go back into that. You got a 1-star rating with automatic sprinter, legit. Yeah, it's I used to be that you can't play, you messed up your thumb. Ah, that's unfortunate. I used to be actually before I played like Inside Drift bikes, before I knew the meta. I used to be a Wild Wing, like basically just I drove carts on automatic because those had the wait what? Oh, right. I got the last 2 numbers wrong because my doctor diagnosed me with sex daily. Little did they know I was a virgin. However, I can't read. Hey, what's up, Malix? It took me a long time to get 3-star rating. It took me a long time to even beat every cup on 150cc and mirror. You guys want to know a secret? Any like person who seems really good at the game, like any person who's really good at any game that they play or good at anything that they do, it took years for them to get there. Don't feel bad if you're not there yet. You know, I've had this game since 2009. I've been playing Mario Kart since I was 9 years old. That's 13 years. And I only got like good at it in like 2015, 16. Yeah, it was the same with me, except, Weamfi didn't exist back then. I went online with automatic Wild Wing, and I, like, got blown out, because, of course, that's what's gonna happen. And I was like, wah, because I was, like, 10 years old or whatever. But then I was like, okay, so clearly that's not how that works. And then I saw some videos, and I was like, oh, okay. And I started playing differently. And now I'm decent enough at the game. I'm not good enough to hold world records, but, if I time trial, I would, but I think that's too niche of a thing for me to have that much fun with. 9 viewers? Yeah, hot dog. Welcome to the stream, everybody. You speedrun Mario 64 for 7 years. It took me all this time to have a good time in 16 stars. Yeah, I speedran Mario for a little bit. Granted, I had like a head start because I had seen speedrunning videos, but my best time in Mario 64 16 stars was only like 23 minutes. You know, it wasn't amazing. I mean, it was decent. Um, you know, and I'm sure like if I really set my mind to it, if I really cared about it, I could like build up that skill and all that. You have 1720? That is so much more impressive than anything I did. You were wildly gesticulating with a glass bottle in your hand and shattered it against a counter? I hope you're okay, dude. Jesus, don't you know, take care of yourself. Hope you didn't get cut. Or is that how you got hurt in the first place? Yeah, I'll create the room. Um, you only have 113 in Luigi circuit. But yeah, I wanted to but yeah, let's see, what were we on about? Oh yeah, uh there are a couple of games that I'm pretty decent at. Like, you know, this is one of them. Super Smash Bros is another one. Fun story. I went to SmashCon this year. Um and I I went 2-2, which means I got 384th. And that was actually tied with the place that J-Mook got at that event. So I tied with the top player, funnily enough. But it took me from 2015, 14, 15 years old to get to that point. You know, and I still got a long way to go if I, you know, start going to tournaments more often. You know, and in another game like Star Wars Battlefront, another game I'm pretty good at. You know, I went from being you know, just some kid who didn't have any game sense to basically routinely topping the scoreboard in games that I play online. And you know how I did it? I threw myself into the meat grinder over and over and over and over again until I learned how to not die when I threw myself in the meat grinder. Not that lucky, unfortunately. You got 5 stitches all healed up pretty much. It's good that you at least got treatment for it. Like, that can be a pretty nasty wound. Especially if it doesn't heal right, you know? Could fuck up your hand pretty extensively. Hello. Let's see. Yeah, I was actually, it was super cool to me that like once Nintendo Wi-Fi cut Mario Kart from the like thing that they did, that like you could still play online and stuff. No words can express my displeasure. Uh Mario Kart can be a cruel mistress. I don't have my location set, so I'm just somewhere off the east coast of the Philippines somewhere, just in the water. Um, what's the Malix? What's the deal? Are we waiting for more people and stuff? You're gonna eat something? Godspeed. Hope it's real good. Speaking of eating stuff, I've actually been learning to cook because I have heard that ladies love a guy that can cook. It's been known to happen. If by the way, I know most of you guys are probably young men out there. If you are looking for a girlfriend, the journey to anybody's heart, the quickest way to anybody's heart is through their stomach. Make a mean bowl of cereal. Oh, you gotta update CTDP. That'll happen. And it's not I can't cook like super complicated stuff. It's just like decent food that you know. Yeah, and it's not like a huge pressure or anything. It's a good life skill to have. So, but when you know when you have the time, just learn to make something basic like breadcrumb chicken. You know, breadcrumb chicken. You get some chicken breasts. Usually, I like to butterfly them so that they cook better. You know, you just get a pan. You grease it with butter. You know, you put the chicken in there, and then you sprinkle a bunch of breadcrumbs and Parmesan on top of the chicken. You know, we put it in the oven. I think oven has to be preheated like 375 or something. Fahrenheit for Celsius it'd be like 175, 200 ish. I don't know. And then, you know, put it in there for however long it was. I'll have to ask my dad. He knows the recipe better than I do. And then you've got some delicious breadcrumb Parmesan chicken. You know, add some mashed potatoes on the side. Classic Southern cuisine. Oops. Do not close the room. Frozen pizza from Walmart. Yeah. My dad did teach me how to grill as well. Grilling hamburgers, grilling like steaks, chicken breasts, and all that. Man, grilled stuff tastes so good. I guess that's sort of that's a very masculine coded thing, huh? I'll do GP and then go if you're down. Yeah, sure. Stop front running. I'm sorry. Ooh, base of your thumb. Yikes. That could be pretty grisly. Victory. Defeat. Such is life. A few months ago, the inside of your oven caught fire? Man. That's gotta be quite a sight to, like... It put itself out, though? That's good. Yeah, you know, usually, if fire exhausts all the air in the environment, it can't burn anymore, because it needs oxygen. That's why firefighters are actually worried about backdraft a lot. Like, when firefighters go into a building, they have to be careful when they open a door to somewhere, because when you open, like, if you open something up, it could be introducing air into that. And if it's hot enough, the air just instantly catches fire. Little interesting thing. It's also I think the reason why firefighters walk into a burning building and not run, or at least part of the broader reason. But yeah. 11 viewers. Wow, welcome to the stream, guys. Make sure it didn't happen. Where is that one? God. You got me. I have no picks, therefore it didn't happen. Liberals destroyed. Or something. I don't know. I'm the host. I think I'm the host, actually. Oh, Malix, do you want me to close the room and then you host, so we can do the thing? GTFO? Okay, bye. Whee. Find a friend. Yeah. Okay. You joined a stream when there was like 5 viewers and the stream was screwed. Yeah, I've been actually trying to interact with small streams as much as I can, because there's a lot of hidden gems out there. Did you change the room settings? Okay. You know, if any of you guys live in Europe, college is going to be much less of a financial concern than it is in America. In America, you have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to go through college. They're much more comfortable and yeah. Yeah, because you usually like you'll get to interact with the streamer so much more. Like what's happening right now. I'm able to like read every chat message, which is great. You know, the issue though is just like for me it's just been getting the stream to the point where people are chatting. Small streams are just more comfortable. Oh yeah, you said, what's your favorite singer? Favorite singer? I'm not much of a music person. Gotta be honest. You know, so I don't know if I have a favorite singer. But I do have a lot of songs that I like. In fact, I have a playlist that I used to use for like Minecraft streams and stuff. Let's see, what do I got? Oh no, wait, I can't put any of that music on that list because it's like copyrighted and shit. I like let me just give one song that I like. I like Total Football by Parquet Courts. There you go. That's one. Less of a chance of having someone out there invade your stream and say some not so good stuff. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. You like electronic music? Electronic music can be really cool. Um, I have a couple of those. Let's see. Joyride by Draper. That's a good one. And then, what's the other one called? Crap. Didn't mean to do that. Where is it? No. My playlist is super long. I have so many songs. Very few of which are like actual album songs. You like rock? Rock is a good genre. It's very headbanging genre. And I have very headbanging hair right now. Oh, Electric Joyride. That's the other one. Alternative rock is pretty good. Yeah. Music in general has so much potential in its ability to communicate a message. I think all art needs to be appreciated in that way. You know, because I'm a very political person, so I like art as a medium to express political beliefs and things like that. In fact, there's a painting behind me. I don't know if you guys can see it. By here, it's kind of it's up there. By an artist that's very popular in Mexico, Diego Rivera. Aha, find a friend. And it's called Peasants. The painting's just called Peasants, and it's peasants working the fields. And it's got a very nice sweeping, kind of gritty aesthetic to it. Let's play CTGP? You bet. Alright, here we go. Custom track content incoming. And of course, if you hadn't figured out by you know, the channel profile picture, the channel banner, and the painting on the wall, and the kind of stuff I've been yeah, me fight. That's right. The kind of things I say on stream, the stuff I talk about. I am in fact a socialist. You got your dog a polka dot banana yesterday that attaches to her collar? Oh, that's so cute. I don't have a dog, but I do have a cat, and she is also very cute and also annoying, but cute as well. Obstagoon's Palace. I actually used an Obstagoon the first time I played through Pokemon Shield. Let's go. Ow. Damn it. I thought I could be cool and like go under the... Yeah, pets will love you unconditionally. In fact, I have a super cute story about my cat that happened recently. So the other night, when I was about to lock up for the night, my cat. Oops, bye. Burn that. I had to like get my cat in for the night. She likes to hang out outside, so we let her because we're not near like any major highways, or like not close enough that it would be a problem for my cat if she like went around adventuring. So this one night when I got her, you know, was calling for her to come back inside, she came back and I noticed she had something in her mouth, and it was a little mouse. She had caught a mouse. Now, unfortunately, as much as I know my cat loves me, I know she's also a very cruel being, and so I had a sneaking suspicion that eventually turned out to be correct. She didn't actually kill this mouse. She had it in her mouth, like to present to me, and then because she's done this before, she was going to crunch its skull in front of me, which is metal as fuck. I've seen her do this before, is very grisly, but then she'll like she was like coming back to the stoop in front of the house, and I was like, no, no, Squeaker. My cat's name is Squeaker. Like, no, drop it. Like, I had to get pretty stern too, and then I noticed that the mouse like got up and quickly like ran into the bushes, uh, and and I picked up my cat so she like couldn't go after it. And I was like, it's okay. You did good. You did good. And the cutest thing is when I took her back inside, she looked at me kind of like confused, and there was water welling up in her eyes. She was like about to cry. And I was like, no, Squeaker, I'm so sorry. I couldn't let you kill that mouse, but you did good. It's okay. I'm proud of you. You know, it was the cutest thing because she was like, why did you do that? I wanted to show you that I love you. It's like, no, it's okay. I know that you love me. It's one of the cutest things I've ever seen my cat do. Alright, shortcut attempt. Incoming! I'm the best. But yeah, and she also, whenever like my parents go out to somewhere like on a trip or whatever, or when I'm like the only one in the house, she gets really clingy. Because we've seen other pets and members of the family come and go while she's been here with us. We got my cat when she was just a little kitten. She was only a couple months old when we got her, and her brother. But then her brother, yeah, they love to take stuff in that you don't really want. It's because that like cats can't fully comprehend the fact that like humans know how to feed themselves and sustain themselves without hunting, you know? Like, obviously, they don't understand the concept of a supply chain or a grocery store or whatever. Your dog died a month ago, you got another one a week ago. That's unfortunate, but, you know, pets, animals that we keep as pets, they don't live as long as we do, so eventually the time comes. And that's what happened quite a bit with Squeaker. First, her brother passed away when they were only like, I think 6 months. You know, they were not that old. And then my other cat, which we had since before I was born, passed away when she was 18. I think my cat was 18. She was a couple years older than I was, and she passed away. You know, and then some I think older members of my family who like frequented the house passed away as well. And you know, my cat had to notice that these people were, you know, starting to not be present in her life anymore. And then very recently, our dog, we adopted a dog after Hurricane Harvey happened in 2017 because a lot of animals were displaced. We adopted a dog, and recently she had to be put down, and Squeaker noticed that one too. You know, definitely noticed. And then more recently still, my sister went off to college. So as far as Squeaker knows, she's gone as well. So Squeaker is like kind of seen the size of her family be reduced from about half a dozen down to 3. And then recently when my parents left, it was just me. You know, and so now, for all she knew, there was only one person in her life anymore, which I imagine is like very sad for you know, it's very sad to think about sometimes, but you know, it makes me appreciate her more because I know that she really, you know, kind of depends on me for emotional connection or something. As weird as that is to say, it's such an introverted thing to take note of, I think. You know? Oh, I almost snapped myself. You know what I mean? Because, like, cats are much more reserved. They tend to be so much more reserved than dogs usually are. But you know, I'm glad to have her in my life. And now she's about how old would she be? Like she'll be 8 years old. She in fact she is she's 8 years old now. She recently turned 8. Because we got her 8 years ago. Um, very touching stuff. So now I've played that track. What have I not played? I have not played Crystal Dungeon on stream yet. Our dog has massive separation anxiety. We'll go to the mailbox, come back, she'll agree to it. Yeah, you know, there was a study recently that all dogs to a certain degree behave like that. They, you know, yeah, you know, dogs are very, you know, I don't want to use the word dumb, but they have a much different perception of time than people do, and then cats do, I think, as well. Because you know, my cat doesn't always get so upset whenever somebody leaves the house, but like you know, with dogs, you know, they every time they like see their owner again or their you know their caretaker whoever after they've like been separated for any length of time, they're ecstatic to see you, which is you know, it's very heartening, I think. But I'd also, you know, I don't necessarily want this to become the stream of like all 100% serious discourse and dialogue. Of course, a lot of the stuff I like to talk about is serious stuff. Oh, oops, bye. But you know, I like to talk about less serious things as well. Ah! The spray and pray, the classic strat. How did I do that? Out for his blood? Yeah. That's the that's this game's like equivalent of a shotgun. You know, in something like Battlefield, you have a shotgun. In this game, you have triple greens. Pets love their owners generally more than they love themselves. Yeah, a lot. You know, pets tend to be very selfless like that. They, you know, they invest a lot more into like emotional needs than I think we give them credit for. We have a little bit of fun with it sometimes, you know. Also, Malix, after this GP, if it's okay, I'm gonna go back to doing worldwides with folks. Damn, he got me good. What else? I'm, you know. Oops. Aha. You didn't get me. You can't fool me. Nice. Added friend code so you can join the worldwide. Nice. Oh yeah, I should just join a worldwide and then tell y'all to like add people's friend codes and then join a worldwide so people can join me online. That'd be great. I will vote for the next course. I will vote Crystal Dungeon. It's just like my real life dungeon. What? You heard nothing. Probably gonna switch to 8 Deluxe after this GP? Yeah, no problem. In fact, I actually want to see, a little bit later, I want to see who all is online, because I've started doing raids, at the end of my stream, so I can direct somebody, you know, direct whoever's in my chat to who I think is also a good content creator. I didn't know you could land on that. So maybe after an hour more, hour and a half more of this, you know, I'll send you on over to somebody else. And then I will come back on Tuesday. I stream every other day for those who are interested. Like my epic technique. No, I tried to do some funny shit. GG's with the races, it was fun. Yeah, likewise. Always a pleasure. Oh, here's a fun story. I don't know if anybody was here for this, but either 2 or 3 streams ago, I actually had, on stream, I was doing like a regular worldwide, because I think not that many people were online for custom tracks. And I read a French news article. By far the most difficult thing I've ever done in terms of like on the spot attention is like oops. I read a news article about like Amazon and stuff on from a French newspaper that I read while racing, like read it aloud in French. Which I'm a little bit proud of myself for, but I imagine it would have been kind of funny for people like looking at me messing up on the race course and being like, what is he doing? Oh, well, goodbye. Hey, you're back. What'd you miss? You missed me talking about how a couple streams ago I read a French news article aloud on stream while I was racing. By far the most difficult thing I've probably ever done. In the, like, quick-witted sense. Got him. No luck, all skill. This game is so dumb. Wow. Congratulations. You can't speak foreign languages fluently? I can't either. French is my second language. You know, it's I still have to feed a sentence pretty meticulously through my brain before I can talk, before I can say anything. You speak English and Spanish fluently? That is one more language than I speak. You know? Fluently, that is. Took a year of French and forgot everything? Yeah, it'd be like that. I took here's the thing, is that I've took a lot of French classes, but it took having family that spoke French for it to, like, stick. Yeah, in high school, it's a similar thing for me as well. I took, you had to take, like, 2 and 2, or, like, 3 years of a language. So in middle school, I took Arabic distance learning for 2 years, which was horrible because it was distance learning, and it was also, they were teaching us modern standard Arabic, which is Egyptian Arabic, which is not mutually intelligible with Moroccan Arabic, which is a kind of Arabic that I've listened to my whole life, although never really spoken. And then in high school, I took 2 years of French. Forgot everything, as is the usual for high school stuff. And then in college, there was also a two-year, like, at least 200 level language requirement for, like, general ed or something. So I took 3 semesters of French in college. And at the end of the third semester, I actually realized something, is that like, I wanted to speak French, but the key thing impeding me from doing so was a lack of like involvement in it outside the classroom. And the way I realized this was we had like outside of the class activities for French um, in my French class where we would go to the TA's house and we would either have lunch with them or we'd play board games in French and we try to talk with each other in French, just regular conversation. And the TA would like help us with trying to say what we would want to say, why you use this verb instead of this verb, and whatever. There's a lot of context shit that doesn't exist in English that does in French. And I realized like that's the kind of stuff that I need if I want to speak French. So what I started doing after I stopped taking French courses, because I really didn't like French in the classroom environment, I was like, okay, well, what's a way that I can learn French? I can read the news. That's the thing I can do. So I started reading a French newspaper every day. I read at least two articles, like a few paragraphs worth of text, with like a translator open so I can understand what each word means. And I also try to, on occasion, speak French with my mom. She speaks French. Although I'm still at the stage where I have to, speak French relatively slowly to actually understand stuff. Yeah, this is the last race. Good luck, my dude. Fuck it, Sahara Hideout. And now I'm at the point where I can read French relatively well. In fact, a big test of this was in the last semester of college. I took a course on classics, like archaeology in the classical age. Really enjoyed it in school. Space science? Hell yeah. I love space science. What I do not love is math. I actually remember using an academic article for my classics project on actually a city that I have visited that was written in French. Very cool stuff. It was like 20-ish pages long of like 1950s academic French. Very difficult. But I was actually able to use it and glean some very useful information out of it. Oh, that's so cool. And that was like a actual practical use of French that I was able to do. And I think that like everybody should be able to like have an element of what they enjoy like in the classroom or in like a more official environment if that's possible, and if not, you should just try to like incorporate it elsewhere, I guess. I don't know, kind of talking out of my ass, but like it's very nice when you have an interest that becomes applicable in a setting where it's kind of not expected that you pursue your interests, if that makes sense. Hey, I got him. You hate how astronomy courses aren't common where you live? Yeah, that can suck. The worst part, as well, is that astronomy courses sometimes are not common in the places where it would be the best to do astronomy. Like in a lot of very rural areas of the country, of any country really, those are like ideal conditions for telescopes and stargazing because there's a comparatively low amount of light pollution. That's one of the things I learned in high school astronomy and in college astrophysics. Is that like in cities they'll tend to have those courses, but there's not great conditions. There's not great conditions for actually observing the stars at night because there's so much light from the buildings and such. But in the countryside, there's there's comparatively little light pollution, so it's an ideal spot for an observatory. GG's, Malix. Good stuff. You've seen Orion before? That's cool. I've seen Orion, the Pleiades, the Big Dipper, Little Dipper, Sirius B. You switch to some 8 Deluxe. Have fun. Bye-bye. Add your friend code. Ah, yes. Let me scroll up. I think you put it in chat earlier. Yeah, there it is. Friends. Add find a friend. Oh wait, no, not find a friend. Register a friend. Yeah, it's okay. I'm here actually. Let me just scroll down. Okay. Yes. Nice. And that, Beetlejuice and Rigel? Yeah. I think, aren't those, like, fucking huge? I think those stars are, like, really big. Here, I'll actually, if either of you guys are, you're not friends yet. Okay. Oh, no, we're friends. SD. Okay, I'm gonna go on Weemify. No, don't disconnect. CT Worldwides. Uh-oh. Different stars have different types of life cycles based on the size. Yeah, bigger stars don't last as long. Because they're so much hotter that they burn through their fuel really quickly. In fact, the oldest stars are the reddest ones. And those will live for trillions of years. Meanwhile, like the really massive white and blue stars will only live for a couple 100 million years. And then because of the size of those, they're massive enough that when they explode into a supernova, they will become black holes because there's enough material, there's enough matter that will become degenerate that will actually compress into a Schwarzschild radius. Whereas a star like the sun will still eventually die and become degenerate matter. But because the sun isn't massive enough to become a black hole, it's just going to sort of fizzle off its outer layers, and it's going to be a white dwarf, which is still massively dense. You know. Yeah, they go through, every star does that, but like bigger stars do it really quickly. The helium flash, that's right, heavier elements. And then they reach iron, the star implodes on itself, and then you get either a white dwarf, a neutron star, or a black hole. But there's actually another type of star that you might not have learned about, and these are called quasi-stars. I don't know if you learned about these. Very early on in the universe, before any stars could form, there actually had to be tiny bits of like heavier elements for stars to be stable enough to form. Things would just coalesce and coalesce and coalesce. They would coalesce so densely that they would instantly turn into black holes. But things still kept coalescing on the outside of them. So you had what looked like a star, but it was thousands of times the size of even the... Yeah, thousands of times the size of even the biggest stars that we know of today. Only lived a few million years. And there was no core. It was just a black hole, supermassive black hole at the center of that star. And on the outer layer of that black hole, like just outside the event horizon, things got hot enough for nuclear fusion to happen. So that's how they burned through all their fuel. But it was so intense that in the cosmic sense, they burned through it in an instant. And that's why there's none of them anymore, because they all died off. Ah, this track. And then when they died off, they actually produce some of the heavier elements that make regular stars possible. Yeah, astrophysics is a super interesting subject. It's just very math heavy, and I really did not like math in high school. Yeah, they become so big that the gravity on the inside isn't enough to hold on to the outer layers, and so they quite literally burn it off. In fact, that's how stars die. That's how the sun is going to die eventually. Is that it's going to go through them. Helium flash. It's going to inflate. Do not look up inflation to find out more. And it's gonna eventually fuse enough elements that it like the outward force is going to be greater than the pull of gravity to keep things together, and then it's just going to sort of fizzle out into a white dwarf that will still be massively hot, but will not do any nuclear fusion. It's going to engulf Mercury and Venus and reach Earth's orbit. Yeah, it is gonna. And that will be the end of the world. End of the world's going to happen long before that point. In fact, we're watching the end of the world right now. Hurricane Ian. I don't know if y'all saw the worst consequences of that. Hurricane Ian is going to be like among the least bad hurricanes of the coming next couple decades. Oops. Oops again. Oops part 2. Yeah, already, as a result of Hurricane Ian, again, end of the world, doom and gloom, whatever. As a result of Hurricane Ian, there are parts of Florida that will never be rebuilt because they can't be rebuilt. So that's like thousands and thousands of people already who have been permanently displaced as a result of climate change. Oh, somebody else. Somebody is online. Yeah. I mean, that, you know, and that doesn't mean there's nothing we can do about it. Obviously, you know, vote Greens if you can. You know, Green Party, Socialist Party, those parties tend to care about environmental change. Oops. Of course, unfortunately, in the United States, we don't have either of those parties that's big enough to affect political change. All we have is the stinking Democratic Party. Oh, you had to restart your Wii? Okay. No problema. No problema. Just do one more? Yeah, okay. Which, speaking of which, elections are coming up in the United States. I actually already voted. I got an early ballot. Thankfully, when the pandemic hit, I had the option to put myself on the permanent absentee voter registry. So now every election season, I just get a ballot in the mail. And they're like, here's your absentee ballot. And, you know, I just vote. I vote online. Or not online. I fill out the ballot and then put it in the mail. Yeah. And I actually got to vote for spending decisions as well, which was very cool. You know, usually you get the ballot and you expect to see the candidates and stuff. There was also like public works projects that I got to vote on just as a regular citizen. Which was so cool. So I did that with enthusiasm, and then when you turn 18, stay neutral, not to vote. That is a bad idea. And I can actually explain this through experience. When you decide to not support either side, you're supporting the wrong side. Right now, the Democratic Party is not good, strictly speaking, but it's all we've got. You know, there's a lot of canvassing out there. You don't have the attention span to look into it. It's not that hard. If you do find the time. But yeah, a lot of people can't find the time, and that's an unfortunate issue. Staying neutral when the Republican Party is at play really is not a very good option, I think. So when you turn 18, vote in every election that you possibly can, because you want to maximize the amount of impact that you can have on preserving democracy in this country. because in a lot of states they have regressive laws where if you don't vote in an election cycle, you're liable to be stricken from the voter rolls. In states, mostly Republican states, they will take your name off of the voter rolls. Yeah, it is. Believe it or not, it is just better to vote for the slightly less bad side. I learned that lesson in Virginia. You know how our governor is Glenn Youngkin. I bear very partial responsibility for that because the Democratic Party ran Terry goddamn McAuliffe, who was, I actually looked into him. I always do my research on my candidates. I looked into him. He was like the straight out of the 90s with the platform the Democratic Party was running him on, like Bill Clinton era tough on crime drug war shit. And I was like, this guy's like, I can't vote for this guy. And so I didn't in the election, and we got Youngkin. So as long as we have the two-party system, we have to pick one way or the other. It's a very unenviable spot to be put in, but we're in it. And the Democratic platform, strictly speaking, is not awful. If looking at their platform page, nominally it's a liberal social democratic platform, which can be good. They have a bad habit of under promising and then under delivering on those milquetoast promises. But that's not something that we can't necessarily fix by infiltrating the Democratic Party with much more robust left-leaning operatives. In fact, the Democratic Socialists of America has been doing this. I'm a member of that group. I haven't done a whole lot of organizing, and sorry for my leftist tirade here again, but because the Democratic Party, it has the weakness of having to incorporate everybody to the left of literal fascism. It also has the strength of having to incorporate anybody to the left of literal fascism, which means if you run a socialist on the Democratic ticket, the Democratic Party has to put up with the socialist being part of their ranks. So we could occasionally get actually a pretty good candidate based on the yeah, no. And if you live in Georgia, I would say, like, Raphael Warnock, he's been, like, I have my critiques of him, and he's been running a really bad campaign. That is to say, like, he's not been really running a campaign at all. But he's a pretty good candidate as far as policy prescriptions go. Certainly miles and miles better than Herschel Walker. I don't even know, like, what Herschel Walker believes, if he believes anything. Like, the man, this is not me, like, talking down on him, but, like, the guy, can hardly put together a sentence, because, that's a product of playing football. Unfortunately, you get brain damage. But yeah, in that case, there's a clear decision. It's like, your choices are, yeah, Herschel Walker is a dumbass, and, like, part of that is his fault, part of that isn't. But at the end of the day, he's the very clearly worst choice. Yeah. Ultimately, like, electoral politics isn't going to solve everything, of course. But it is a tool that we can and should use to actually make things better. And if that means you just have to stop them from getting worse, that just means you have to stop them from getting worse. Yeah, that sort of mind fuckery, brain fuckery kind of comes with the territory of playing football, unfortunately. It's like the most dangerous sport out there, even more dangerous than rugby. Because in rugby, you'll get hurt and stuff, but in rugby, at least the only, like, layer of brain damage that happens is your brain is moving around in your head. In football, there's the extra layer of a helmet that's relatively unfastened. So in addition to your brain kind of sloshing around in your head is sloshing around in the helmet. So you actually, despite having pads and, on a base physical level, being safer than rugby, you get brain damaged faster. Worse concussions happen in football? Yeah, because it's like, it's a, it's not a, like, a strict bruising issue. It's like a discombobulation thing. In fact, I've literally seen, like, rugby, I think, has better safety regulations than football. I've seen, I remember there was like a, you know, when I was little, I was watching a, sometimes they had, like, sports countdowns or whatever on TV. And one of them was, like, top 10, like, shocking moments in sports or whatever. And one of them was Darryl Stingley back in the 1970s, I want to say. Running back for I forget what team it was paralyzed on the field. He ran into somebody, got a, you know, hit him the wrong way, and was paralyzed, I think, from the neck down. Just like that. And the rules in rugby would have prevented some crap like that. Yeah, football is a hell of a sport. It's really dangerous. You know, it's about as literal representation as you can get of sports as ritualized warfare. You know, because you're going out there and you're beating each other up over some pigskin or deer bladder on the field there. Don't worry about it, maybe some other time. Okay, sorry, I forgot anyway. So you're gonna go for real this time. See you later. Bye. Have fun, Grantham. It's great having you on. Having you guys here on stream. Yeah, absolutely. Ah, 3 hours. That's how long I've been streaming. I'm gonna probably go for a couple more races, and then I might be done for the day. I really appreciate everybody, you know, turning out for this stream in particular. I don't know what it is about this one, more so than others. Probably because it was a weekend. You know, Bowser's Termination Station. When I first saw this track was added to CCGP, it was just listed on the channel as Bowser's T Station. So I was like, oh, dude, that's hype. Bowser's Transgender Station. You know. You're the only Mario Kart streamer with a mic? That's probably true, unfortunately. I tried to, like, so when I was when I was designing my stream and stuff, I wanted to have a pretty wide appeal. So what I decided is like, oh, people like Mario Kart, people like cool tracks. So I was like, I like custom tracks. I'm gonna stream custom tracks. But then, like, competitive Mario Kart is really niche. So I decided, like, well, I don't think I want to care too much about that. And I didn't anyway. And I've been streaming, believe it or not, like, for 6 years. I started streaming back in 2016, but I only recently got a good microphone, because when I finished college, I decided I wanted to do this full time. You know, even though I have an anthropology degree, could probably get a job at an org or a firm somewhere. You know, it's not really what I want to do. And so I was like, okay, what are the, like, key pieces of equipment that I want to have for Mario Kart, for like Mario Kart, or really any kind of streaming. And one was obviously a good microphone. My headset mic was, you know, was clearly not going to cut it. You know, you can even see, like, on my YouTube channel, there's some older videos from earlier this year, last year, or before with my headset mic. It really doesn't sound good. Want to be a full-time streamer? Yeah. You know, it's I've seen other people do it. I think I could do it, but I also have a ton of fun just playing video games and talking to people. And I think that I have something to offer the world in just commentary and shit like that. You know, so I'm trying to gradually build it up. I'm almost at the threshold for affiliate status, which means I'll get to, like, run ads and do subs and stuff. But yeah, you know, so the first step was obviously, like, a good mic, and then the another step for me was a good webcam. Oh, thank you. That means a lot to me. I'm glad that I can be a good streaming personality and some such. Oops, I missed. Oh, I missed. I love that warrior quote. So I got also a 1080p HD, like, webcam. It's basically a souped up version of the webcams that I used to use. It's pretty cheap. all things considered, um, Logitech, pretty reliable brand in my experience. Um, and then I also, this was a little bit earlier, I kind of had the foresight to pursue this beforehand. I got a capture card. The way I can record this in such high quality is I have a 1080p capture card that I can hook into either my Wii U or my Switch, and I have a second monitor. And I could just, have that running. So I have my stream to a point where it looks pretty good. I have the chat overlay. I got the timer that shows how long I've been streaming. I have custom alerts. I feel pretty good about the way things are set up. And it costs a pretty penny, I'm not going to lie. You know. But yeah, I find all that makes for a good stream, and I think if the stream is easy to watch and easy to listen to and easy to engage with, then people will want to watch and listen and engage with it. And I'm glad that that's slowly but surely starting to come true. La Carrera Loca, yeah, that was actually my first edited video, if you can believe it. I did my first live stream, and I was like, man, this had a lot of cool moments, and I spent the next month trying to find good video editing software, which I found a decent one. I use Adobe Premiere Rush. And I edited down that 2-hour video into something that fit into the span of 3 or 4 minutes of me just getting people with items. And I even put in like stylized credits to mirror Shrek 2. Because, it's the rendition of Livin' La Vida Loca. So I was like, how do I make this interesting? How do I make this funny and unique? I was like, oh, I know. Is there something else that kind of fits at that title? It's like, what's the Spanish word for race or drive? And so the Spanish word for race is carrera. So I just named it La Carrera Loca. And so you have Eddie Murphy and Antonio Banderas singing Livin' La Vida Loca over me driving and occasionally sniping people. And you did see correctly in one of those clips. I do drive over Russo X in a Mega Mushroom. And I say I had to. It was too funny not to. Which is true. I maintain my logic for making that decision. Yeah, and since then I've tried to also edit more videos and stuff. Believe it or not, this is the inside sneak preview. A couple streams ago, I did Bernie Sanders' voice impression, and because I like voice impressions, I like doing voice impressions because I think they're funny, and I think it makes the stream funnier when I do them. And so I edited in all the parts of the stream where I was talking in the Bernie Sanders voice, and then all I need to do now is probably this evening, I'm gonna make a thumbnail for it. Oops. Human gloom. Take that. Ha ha ha. And then, do one? It's kind of hard to know what to say, but yeah. Regrettably, I have been collided into by a user with a star. However, now I have a star of my very own, which I will utilize to the fullest extent of its power. Yeah, it's pretty good. Take that. I apologize for, how they say, jacking the star of a man in a lower position than myself. However, I do think that in the scope of this race, it was necessary for me to advance, to later sections of the course. So, there's a stream where I do a bunch of that. And so I'm gonna make a thumbnail. It's gonna be I don't know, it's gonna be something with Bernie Sanders. It'll be funny. And then I'm gonna upload it, and then, more content. Oopsies. No. I have been hit by the shrink ray. Honey, I shrunk the entire Mario Kart Wii worldwide. This is not a joke. Please help. Eat it. No. Okay, I'm alive. But yeah, I also did, in that video, I also did some voice impressions that I thought weren't as, like, as good or, like, wouldn't fit as well in just a video of, like, Bernie Sanders voice impressions. I did a Joe Biden voice impression. I did a Donald Trump voice impression. And I did a, briefly I did a Mr. Krabs voice impression, which really hurt my throat, so I don't think I want to do that one. But, you know, I actually go over in the video. Oh yeah, Trump's. I don't sound as much like him as I do Bernie or Biden, but I think I have the mannerisms down. So if I go, like... The other day, I was in Neo Koopa City. As you know, many people have said this. Bowser, real estate overlord, mogul, great guy, phenomenal guy. He clearly took a lot of real estate tips from me. It's got to be said. Somebody's got to say it, and I'm here to say it today. But I was in the dog park. They have a very nice dog park there. I met up with my friend Obama, and we took a walk in the dog park in Neo Koopa City. Very beautiful dog park. However, there was a bit of a litter. I think that city could use a bit of the Jimmy Carter campaign. The give a hoot, don't pollute. You guys know that one? You'll know that one. Yeah, it's the mannerisms I think really sell it. But yes, I got some ice cream with my friend Obama. Great friend, great guy, great president. Many people have said this. Unbelievable. It was a little place that sleepy Joe Biden, can't blame him for being sleepy. That happens when you're old. Recommended. You just need to stick your tongue out while speaking. Yeah. I kind of have trouble with that because it screws with how my voice sounds. With Joe Biden. Not with Joe Biden, with Obama. At Joe Biden's recommendation. The ice cream was great. Phenomenal. Great stuff. And then I congratulated Bowser on his new real estate deal. The man, let me tell you, he took some lessons from me. He really knows the art of the deal. Unbelievable. Believe me. Oops. No. I've hit the dirt. My dirt bike, it was not a dirt bike, so I couldn't drive very well in the dirt. Where's Dark Brandon? Dark Brandon, I believe, also great fan of Mario Kart. If he played this game, I think he would be very proud of me. Be proud of the driver that I have become. No! Okay, I'm good. I got the item box. Baby Peach, don't squish me. Okay. Mushroom. Oh, this track is only 3 laps? This is short. Go, dude, go. Blew myself. Ah, never mind. I'll do one more, and then I'm probably gonna call it there for today. I'm getting kind of tired. But regardless, this has been a gem of a stream. Oh man. And also, one of the things I'm trying to do to make my content appealing is I'm trying to make it as permanently available as possible. You know, so people can watch older streams. You know, there's the classic trick of you can just go into your channel and like if you highlight a stream and then you just select the whole stream, then you basically just have the VOD chilling there on the channel. And I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that with this stream, and probably a lot of future streams. Yeah. Although next time I'm not 100% sure if I want to do Mario Kart, if I want to do Smash Bros. I know people were talking about Smash Bros. Earlier, so maybe that'll be fun to to incorporate some more. I did some net play leading up to going to SmashCon this year, and I actually did. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you. You know, watching for a love of the channel, as it were. I actually did a little while ago. This might be a little bit weirder of a content format. I don't know how much I want to get into this. I did a debate review of who was it? It was Jank Uger and Dennis Prager on the issues of secularism and the Israel-Palestine conflict. And then I also did a debate review of Vosh versus Sargon of Akkad. Kind of hit or miss on like whether I want to do more of that. It's pretty easy, but I also don't think it's the most engaging thing. You know, I think I want to be like, I do want to maintain some level of involvement in politics on this channel, but I think entryism would be a nice thing to do. And I think, you know, you get into those kind of debates once you've been in the space for a little while. You know, it's not typically the thing that you see immediately. But yeah, I guess, you know, for next time, maybe expect teams on netplay. You know, if I can figure out how to do that, you know, might very well just go on their team with a random person and try to be a good teammate. That way, maybe I'll get more of the Super Smash Bros. Crowd. That would be fun. Got people talking about Mario Kart, people talking about Smash Bros, people talking about politics, people talking about Vouch. Oh no. That's fine. That's fine. You know, that's why, you know what? That's part of why I like doing the political entryism, because it's, you know, it's very fair to expect that there's a lot of people who aren't going to be very involved in politics, you know? So, that'll be great. Ooh. Great minds think alike, Magalore. Ah! Almost. Ah. God, this track is a classic. I remember the like old versions of CGGP when this track used to be really like like unpolished? I don't know. It used to actually lag at some spots as well. Bro. Okay. I don't know how good of a spot this is to be in because I'm in first and I don't have an item. Well, now I have an item, but it's a fake item. Dope. Yeah, okay. You got him finally? Yeah. But he got me. That's okay. I'm okay with him being in first because right now he doesn't have a blue shell's worth of lead. He did finesse me. And if he gets blue shell... Ah, speak of the devil! This game is a game of skill. I finessed him right back. Little did he know I was the one doing the finessing the whole time. Ooh, okay. I got him. Dabbed on him. Ooh. That was kind of nerve-wracking. I mean, I was okay either way getting first or second, but, you know, the blue shell came and I was like, aha! My ultimate strategy of stay in second the whole race prevails. All right, I think that's enough for me today. You were interested in the who's gonna finesse who? Yeah, I always had that like knowledge in my back pocket of the like he's probably gonna red me because I have a fake item and I guarantee he's got something. But there's enough time. There was enough time left in the race. I was pretty confident. Like it's almost gonna get a blue shell. Like obviously it's not unheard of to not for that to not happen, but you know usually it does. Yeah, I'll see you on Tuesday as well. With that said, you know, you can leave if you want. I'm gonna find somebody to raid so that they can get a little bit of love as well. Let's see here. All right, let's go to my following section. Who all is live? Live. Nobody that I know really. However, let's see. There are a couple people that I don't follow that are interesting channels. Hmm. Dang, nobody's live right now. Not that I am interested in. Wait, okay, hold on. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. No, they're not here? Rip. Oh well, I guess no raid today probably. Yeah, no raid today. So have a good one. I'll be back on Tuesday with Slippy Super Smash Bros. Doubles. That'll be fun. My first time playing teams in a while. Have a good one.